Guerrilla cricket. Whoa. Guerrilla cricket. Whoa. Guerrilla. Take guard, man the barricades, patrol the cover boundary. At last the time has come, this is a cricketing emergency. Hear this call to arms for every cricket revolutionary. Take up your bats and stumps for the test match insurgency. At first they tried to silence us, but we would not be silenced. They threatened us with lies, so we threatened them with violence. Che Guevara, Sangakkara, Joseph Stalin, Douglas Jardine, Robespierre, Darrell Hare, Vladimir Lenin, O'Brien Kevin. Guerrilla cricket. It's not about the winning, it's about how many rules you break. Even in cricket commentary, this is the best advice to take. Pick guerrilla cricket, it's the finest choice you'll ever make. There's so much more to cricket than rev counters and a slice of cake. At first they tried to sanitize us and clean up our act, but people like it filthy, and we know that for a fact. Fidel Castro, Lenny Pasco, Carlos the Jackal, Umar Akmal, Mahatma Gandhi, Grant and Andy, Brendan Behan, Austin Ian. Guerrilla cricket. Stick with us, cause you know we're not the kind of thing that you see on the TV and the radio. So vive la revolution. First they tried to buy us, but we would not be bought. Okay, we were, but then we ran away, and we will not be caught. We would not give up the ghost when they left us all for dead. They decapitated us, but we just grew another head. Chairman Mao, Jamie Howe, Ho Chi Minh, Asif Din, Václav Havel, Graham Saville, No Surrender, Percy Fender, Che Guevara, Sangakkara, Joseph Stalin, Douglas Jardine, Robespierre, Darrell Hare, Vladimir Lenin, O'Brien Kevin. Guerrilla cricket.
Good evening and welcome to Guerrilla Cricket, and welcome for the second night running to Sapphire Gardens on the banks of the River Taff, and it's England versus Sri Lanka Part 2. Part 1, I'm afraid, did all seem a little bit after the Lord Mayor's show. Giddy with the heady excitement of the World Test Championship final and New Zealand's victory, we dashed, in a virtual sense at least, from Southampton to Cardiff to see England batter Sri Lanka by 8 wickets, chasing down a meagre target of 130 with the best part of 3 overs remaining. Tonight, though, there is much to play for, not least as the match is being shown on free-to-air TV, although it's not on our feed at the moment there. But to enthuse new fans, I'm sure the ECB and indeed the BBC would want a closer match. Has someone had a word in Owen Morgan's ear to suggest batting first? Or will ruthless professionalism override commercial interest, or indeed will Sri Lanka come to a party and make a match of things? I'm Tony Bishop one, and to debate such matters, I am with my notes going completely off the screen as we finally did get the feed. I am with none other than Jason G. Hiscox, who is on mute. Great. And Nestle Boy, who isn't.
I'm not on mute.
Who's not on mute, as you quite rightly heard. Both wily veterans of guerrilla cricket, our own Ross Taylors, if you will. First, though, let's go for team and toss news. Well, the toss was won again for the second night consecutively by Sri Lanka, as Kusal Perera has said he will bat. And there are some team changes. We thought there might be. Joss Butler apparently has a calf train. Billings will be calf's train, and Billings will be in as wicketkeeper. Bairstow will open, and David Willey is in for Chris Wokes, who bless him, after so much cricket, probably needed a little break. So England line up as Jason Roy, Johnny Bairstow, Dawid Malan, some question marks about him really, despite that number one status. Owen Morgan, only survivor from the first T20 international here in 2010. Sam Billings, Liam Livingstone, Sam Curran, David Willey, Chris Jordan, Adil Rashid and Mark Wood. Great news for Sri Lanka. Great news for fans of cricket everywhere. Niroshan Dickwella is back. Hooray! He is in for De Silva. Ashado is in for Akila, and the mystery man Dhananjaya Lakshan is going to take over from Yuan Pradeep. So they line up as Danushka Gunathalaka, Vishka Fernando, Kusul Pereira, Kusul Mendes, Niroshan Dickwella, Dasan Chanaka, Wanudu Hasaranga, Isuru Udana, Akila Dhananjaya, Dushmanta Chamira and Binura Fernando, the man of mystery. The teams are plating the field. So very quick talking points. Jason, Sri Lanka. Well, just looking at the feed, I see that Bairstow's got the gloves. I seem he's had a strop in the changing rooms, and Billings has been demoted. Nothing would surprise me, but yes, that would seem to be the case. What do we think about Sri Lanka last night? Do you think they can turn it around and really make a game of this? It was a pretty poor start, really, wasn't it? It was. I was relieved that it was England that were dominant and not Sri Lanka, because I was watching a very poor Surrey versus Somerset game at the time. Well, there's a few games tonight. We'll keep you abreast of those as we go. Some promise from Kusul Pereira, some from Dasan Chanaka. He made 50. Hasaranga, Chamira and Udana did okay with the ball. Nesta's... and you've forgotten the other thing, the Gunathalaka catch. Outstanding. It was indeed outstanding.
That was the only good thing that happened in that match.
Butler was pretty spectacular, but nonetheless.
You're selling this, boys. You're really selling this.
Well, we shall see. David Willey.
Sorry, is Butler not playing tonight?
No, he's not. But David Willey has the ball in hand. And we will jingle him up.
People would have had enough of Willie and Angels. His name's Willie. Listen, gorillas, and you'll hear it isn't so. Oh no.
He's going to be bowling to this man.
Happiness is a warm, yes it is. Don't you know that happiness is a warm Gunathalaka?
Jeff Perkins' finest work there. Beatles work. David Willey is going to be... Is he just warming up? No, he's actually in. He's left arm over. And it's down leg. Not an auspicious start for Johnny B, because it almost went down to 4 byes to long leg. And Sri Lanka are off the mark with 2, although they were not off the bat. It wasn't a pretty delivery. It wasn't a pretty piece of keeping. And it was a pretty shambolic piece of fielding to boot.
Wide. I've just had an email from the 100.
Yeah, no, I get loads of those.
Becky Hill is to open the 100's opening fixture.
Is she, by Jove?
Who is Becky Hill?
I don't know, and I shall be probably reorganising my sock drawer that evening.
Oh, you got
two without loss for Sri Lanka, but neither batsman off the mark yet, and Willey yet to concede anything off the bat either. It was 2 wides. The bear's just waving things around. Not quite sure what he's doing. There seems to be a delay. There are 2 slips for that Owen Morgan has in place for Gunathalaka. We do seem to be all delayed. Those 2 slips are Owen Morgan at first slip. We are waiting to see if in fact that had been cleanly fielded. I think it was, but only just.
It was.
Dawid Malan was the second slip, by the way, so you had Malan next to Morgan. formerly an all Middlesex slip cordon, obviously no longer. Up onto his toes goes Gunathalaka, pushes it away to square leg, and they're off the mark, as it were, with the bat, but 3 on the board with 2 balls bowled. Better ball from Willie, but easy enough, I think, Jason, just to tickle off his hip, wasn't it?
Yep, with the only 2 men out, they're normally either down at fine leg or up at long off for these first overs in the power play, so there's generally a hole somewhere in the ring for you to knock the ball into to get an easy single.
Well, it's actually going to be the left-hander Avishka Fernando who is going to be facing, I beg your pardon, the right-hander. Just the one slip for him, and it's slanted across him by Willie. No real hint of any swing for Willie. Normally, or very often, gets a decent amount of swing in the first few balls, doesn't he? And then it tends to die away a bit. But there was no run either.
He's got to get the ball scuffed up a little bit to get him to swing it, I think, to get the lacquer off.
Yeah.
Such lacquer as there is on these white balls.
We're looking at a close-up of Mickey Arthur. Sadly, no very tight shorts tonight. He's wrapped up fairly warm as that one is taken. Gloves up down the offside by Johnny Bairstow. So still in 4 deliveries, just 1 off the bat for the returning David Willey. In for Chris Wokes. England persist in rest and rotation. Wokes, who seems to have been starved of cricket for just about forever. 1 game clearly was enough, and a chance to give David Willey a run out. Who's in again? That one's tickled nicely off his legs by Avishka. Will get him off the mark down to deep square leg. Sam Billings, who we thought was going to take the gloves, but no. As Jason speculated, there may just have been a little bit of foot stamping and tea spilling in that England dressing room, and Johnny B has reclaimed them. So 4 without loss for Sri Lanka. 5 balls bowled. Gunathalaka to face, and he just works it away to mid-wicket. They gallop a quick single, and at the end of the first over, Sri Lanka are 5 runs to the good. 2 for Gunathalaka and a single for Avishka Fernando. Nestlers.
Well, we're joined on YouTube by Mr. Singh, so that could be quite an entertaining evening, going by his messages.
He was very upset yesterday. Boy, was he upset yesterday.
He's hoping Sri Lanka bounce back.
Oh, okay.
India are a worse team nowadays, and England beat them easily. Warren's joined us, says afternoon all. Brian Barris says good day and good morrow, cricket nerds. Well, it's not Test cricket, but listening to Hit and Giggle means I get to hang out with the GC crew at work, then it's all gravy. Go England, go England.
Okay, well, thank you for that. And we're going to jingle up the new bowler.
Is he a batter or bowler?
Sam Curran.
What's his distinguishing feature?
Sam Curran.
He starts from Zimbabwe.
Sam Curran.
And he's beloved by Liz Yates.
Sam Curran.
Yeah, is indeed Sam Curran, and he'll be bowling from that River Taff end. And is met full and straight, but there is a man at mid on it, Adil Rashid, and there will be a single mid off rather, but there we go. 6 without loss.
Just trying to think of the last time England played 2 left-arm quick bowlers. I can't think of an occasion. Sri Lanka are well known for having lots of left-arm quick bowlers, but England they've only ever had 1 at any one time, as far as I can tell, in the side.
That is a very good observation, Jason, and I wonder if tactically the England Brains Trust had seen some opportunity in that, and that's why Chris Wokes had to step aside. Or it might just be simply get everyone a game, have a look at people with that World Cup in view. Topley and Willey, of course, both left armers, but they have played in tandem. I recall them definitely playing in tandem at Southampton, as that one was past the outside edge of Avishka Fernando and taken better and more confidently this time than Johnny Bairstow, who, having, we think, possibly, maybe, without any substantiation at all, stamped his feet and demanded the gloves. His first act of the night was to let 3 wides past Or two words. best.
Barefaced speculation.
Well, that's what I know. I was merely repeating what Jason was telling us. And that was worked away to leg by Avishka. And there's a huge shout for a run out. And I think they have their man. They do. He's short of his ground. A fantastic throw came in. It came in from, was it Sam Curran?
No, he kicked it.
Oh, he kicked it onto the stumps. Well. He's obviously been watching the Euros, because a fantastic piece of footwork has got England their first wicket. We'll have another look at it. It was dropped down by Avishka, and in came Curran. He beat the batsman, tapped, side-footed it into the empty net. 1-0 England, 1 wicket down, and Sam Curran has displayed some exemplary footballing skills to claim a wicket.
Warren's wondering if Mickey Arthur's going commando.
Oh gosh, there is a thought. Bear, do you want to play a wicket jingle, or have you played one?
I played one whilst you were talking.
Oh, we didn't. No.
Stan Weasler says Bairstow's coming off injury. Perhaps he has the gloves so he doesn't need run as much.
That is plausible, arguably more plausible than Jason's. Although I prefer somehow Jason's. I can imagine somehow.
Oh, he's making it up as he goes along.
Well, I could just imagine Owen Morgan going, right, chaps, here we go. And by the way, Sam Billings will wicket keep. You're all right with that, Dave, with Johnny Boy? All right? And I can't imagine he would be. 6 for 1 then. England have struck early. The free-to-air TV audience have already been royally entertained, but probably in the slightly unlikely manner of some fabulous footwork by Sam Curran to claim the first wicket. Kusal Perera, the Sri Lankan captain, will come to the crease. Danushka Ganathalaka, having departed, run out by the feet, or right foot of, to be specific, of Sam Curran. And so Sri Lanka are 6 for 1. Forward comes Perera, fielded in the onside. There is no run.
There's just a little bit of shape there, so that just came in very slightly.
One of the replacements in a Sri Lankan blazer. Their bowlers broke down, so what do they send? Another keeper batsman to join all his friends. Colombo's a go-go, but now he's in Soho. Poor little Perera.
In comes Curran again, whipped nicely off his toes by Perera. That'll get him off the mark to a deep backward square leg, where Sam Billings once again is the man doing the fielding. Number 7 on his back. That red shirt reminds me a bit of Alan Ball, Jason. Red shirt, 7 on his back, playing for England. We've already seen a bit of football from Sam Curran. Reminds me of Alan Ball. Maybe I'm the only one.
Red hair as well.
Billings, but he's sort of more blonde, isn't he? Billings, and this one is really sort of a cross-batted slash by Perera. But it goes to mid-on, and they will gallop another quick single. More successfully, it must be said, than the last quick single they attempted, which ended with Sam Curran just side-footing the ball into the stumps and removing Dashan Ganathalaka for 3. So 9 for 1, Sri Lanka, 2 overs complete. Nestlers.
Diane Keighley says, good evening, all enjoy the game. Forget yesterday's results, but unfortunately Mr. Singh is not complying, which is quite entertaining, but he can get a little bit angry. On Crick Tracker Inga, we're joined by Hiranami Das, Pawan Kumar, Danish Khan, Pawan Sani. Welcome on board, folks. Hope you enjoy it.
A warm welcome indeed. We're at Sapphire Gardens. We're watching the second T20 international between England and Sri Lanka, and Willie is in to Perera, who just guides towards point, and they take a single. Remember, Sri Lanka won the toss, elected to bat. They elected to bat last night too. It didn't work out too well for them then. They just really weren't able to get going at all. It wasn't necessarily straightforward scoring, though, was it, Jason?
It wasn't, but this is starting to look like it could possibly be a repeat, because they're not really getting away to a fire in this power play either.
No, just a shade well, just a shade under 5 and over at the moment. 10 for 1. We've had one ball of the third over. It's being bowled by the left armour David Willey, who is in, and forward is Avishka Fernando, but he takes the top of his bat and just pops off into the offside, and there is again no run. None for 4 for Willey so far, but off 12 balls, that's a pretty frugal return for him.
Yeah, he's right on the money now, and he's getting a little bit of shape, as we saw with Curran early in the previous over.
In gallops Willey again. He's a very determined run, doesn't he? This is stroked away and fielded though quite well. That will be Chris Jordan, who was at mid-off, and he skipped away to his left and flung himself to save what possibly, I don't think it really had the horsepower to get as far as the extra cover boundary. But
this is already better than the other match.
Well, did you know what, Nestlers? I genuinely feel there was a little bit of, and I'll just hold that thought for a second, as the one slip stands ready, takes the edge, but it's squeezed past Gully and down to third man, and they'll take a single. I honestly think we'd had a day really focused on, what was a really enthralling conclusion to the World Test Championship.
We did,
and I think we found it quite difficult to change gear. It was
very odd going from one form of cricket to the other so quickly, but it was a turgid game. It was just dull.
Well,
no, it was.
So far, it's better as this one is driven. Really doesn't get hold of it, and it's driven straight to mid-on, and there is no run.
I know you can argue about bubbles and such like, but I also had the feeling that Sri Lanka were just a little bit underdone. They'd only had one practice match, and the England players had all been playing some T20 blast matches.
Yeah, well, I suppose you could also extend that to a certain extent. We'll just hold that thought as Willey, who has a very sort of bustly run, doesn't he? And that is a down leg and will be signalled as a wide by Alex Wharf. Alex Wharf from Bradford, played for Yorkshire and Nottinghamshire, and actually a while on this ground too for Glamorgan. So he's on home territory. We're seeing Sri Lanka do have some colourful support in the ground, only of course about a quarter full, as that one catches the thigh. It's away into the offside. There's a shout, bizarrely, from square leg, and they will run a leg by. So the score will move on to 15. Captain Morgan and David Willey. Oh, they're going to review for LBW. Well, that it looked high to me. Jason, what was your take?
I thought that was, it's possibly high. It was quite a way up on the front foot.
It's a bit odd to review when the bowler's not interested.
It didn't seem to be a vociferous, that you must give that out appeal. Pitch is pretty much on middle and leg.
It's above the knee roll.
It's above the knee roll. I'm guessing, unless, it's more likely to be umpire's call, and the umpire didn't call it as out.
It's missing leg, isn't it?
Possibly, as Nestler says, it's
and
missing
got
leg. I think, well, he might even have had just the faintest of tickles from what would have been an outside edge. Indeed. Ooh. Pitching in line, impact in line, hitting, probably just grazing the top of the off bail, and umpire's call, as we said, prevails, and the umpire's call was not out. So we move on. 15 for 1, no wicket for David Willey.
Moin Ansari says hi, and Legacy AD Brian 15 says good evening all gorillas.
Good evening to you, and a very warm welcome indeed. We're going to see more of Sam Curran. Probably he's got Germany in his sights now after that nifty bit of footwork. Pulled away by Pereira, but pulled down straight to deep square leg, and although he connected with that pretty well, he also connected it straight towards the fielder, and it will only be a single. Now I'm even more confused. What are we missing here? Yeah, that's more like it. Just Sky's captioning is slow as ever. We're watching that LBW. What was extraordinary to me, I suppose Willie was very focused on going to field the ball, Jason, but he looked just not interested at all. And if the bowler just doesn't look interested at all in an LBW, it's an odd decision to review, isn't it? Around the wicket he comes, and that one is turned away on the 45. It's going to go down towards long leg. A man will come round from deep backward square, and it will limit them to just 2. Sri Lanka move on to 18. Mark Wood is the man down there. He will be
galloping in shortly.
He's actually flung himself to his right. He's getting in some early practice for when he's bowling, when he'll undoubtedly be flinging himself forwards. That particular time he flung himself sideways.
That was a good save, actually, because
around the wicket comes Willie. That's high on the pull. Is it going to have enough? No, it's not. It has gone straight down the throat of Dawid Malan, who says thank you very much indeed. And Sri Lanka do lose their second wicket. It's Avishka Fernando, and he has gone caught by Malan, bowled by Sam Curran. Well, good attacking intent, but really that's precisely why Dawid Malan was down there. Oh, it's Livingstone after all that. I beg your pardon. I think the England team are going to have a rule about how they grow their beards. They're going to have to be more distinctive. With a cap on, Malan's facial growth and Livingstone's facial growth are depressingly similar.
It's about time they just tattooed their names on their foreheads, isn't it? With some
flags.
With some advertising, you know.
Well, that's always a good idea. Anyway, Nestlers, and while we wait for the next Sri Lankan in the England sites, what have you got for us?
Well, we're pretty much up to date on Twitter and Facebook, but Mr. Singh is still going at it on YouTube. It's most entertaining.
Mr.
Whoever's on social media duties, just keep an eye on it.
Well, I wonder where Mr. Singh lives.
We're
assuming in India, but I was hoping for something more precise. You know, is he angry of Delhi? Is he angry of Hyderabad? Is he angry of somewhere else?
He's angry.
He's just Mr. Angry. He's angry on behalf of the entire wronged Indian nation.
He might be living here. I don't know.
Well, precisely. Tell us where you are, Mr. Singh. As Sam Curran is in, and this is turned away to backward square. They take a single. We'll move on to 19. I think we're going to have another look at that catch. Yeah, he never really got hold of it. It was a slower ball, I think, wasn't it, Jason?
It was. It was a very well directed, slower short ball.
It was a slower ball bouncer.
It was right at his face, and he flapped at it just very slightly.
But Liam Livingstone was calmness personified. Got himself set, held out his buckety hands, and the ball dropped into them, and Sri Lanka lost their wicket. That's a good ball by Curran. Rather hurries Kusal Perera, who can just edge it away into the onside, but there is no run. Good start this for England. 2 early wickets, 19 off what is nearly 4 overs.
It's that quick arm
one
action.
Ball left of this one.
It's that quick arm action that Curran has. It's quite hard to pick up how fast the ball's actually coming.
Well, that is true. Curran is in over the wicket, and Perera is forward, but it's straight to point. Again, there is no run. So that is a fine over from Sam Curran. He has a wicket to his name. He has Sri Lanka 19 for 2. Perera on 6. Kusal Mendis on 1. And Nestlers, do we have any new updates from Mr. Singh?
Yeah, but I'm leaving it be. Brian Barry says Mr. Singh sounds like he's from somewhere in North New Jersey. Typical New York sports fan. And Leah says, hello everyone. Cricket is significantly less fun when England's on top, excluding the Ashes, of course. No one likes the Antipodean Reich.
Well, no, I don't think Leah, from memory, is a football fan. I know she's a fantastic sports fan, of course, in general, but let us know, Leah, because otherwise we do have an event coming up, of course, as this is pushed away into the offside. And again, there is no run. Number 9 for Willie.
I'm with Hendo. I want Germany to win.
19 for 2. Perera on 6.
Again,
we're having a look at Mickey Arthur up there.
He hasn't got his shorts on. I'm not interested in Mickey Arthur if he hasn't got his shorts on. I don't want that bloody cockwobble in number 10 getting off on the back of that of a victory.
Well, there is that thought, as that's a good length delivery, and this again is pushed by Kusal Mendis, but straight to mid-off. And exactly as per last night, Sri Lanka, when they've looked to go aggressive, it's cost them, and they've been really bottled up very effectively by this England bowling. It's frustrating for them. England have kept things very tight, very effective. They've lost one wicket you might describe as unfortunate to a fantastic piece of Sam Curran footwork. This one, though, has pierced that infield. Chris Jordan is galloping off. They've taken one. They will come back for two. I would imagine they were able to get back for three as Chris Jordan went through. No, it was just two. So 21 for two. Kusal Mendis will move on to three. Pereira is on six. Managed to pierce the field there between cover and extra cover, but it doesn't look, Jason, like the fastest of outfields, does it? Even though there's a particularly short boundary as well here.
No, it
Willie will continue. Ooh, sorry, beats the outside edge, goes through to Bairstow. There's no run. Sorry, Jason.
You say it looks a bit green and dewy.
Yeah, maybe it'll require some extra zip a little bit later on. That was a good ball from Willie. And arms were up, and excitement and enthusiasm and frustration all in equal measure with slips and wicketkeeper, or slip and wicketkeeper. Onto the back foot goes Mendis, but again, all he can do is punch to mid-on. And again, there is no run. Sri Lanka having trouble freeing the shackles that England are placing upon them. It's good, it's tight, effective bowling in this power play.
It is. They are bowling into the pitch again a little bit and just short of a length, and it's just not quite coming through. And they're finding it hard to time the ball as a result.
Indeed, well, Willie has one ball left of his third over. He's bowling it to Kusal Mendis, who is forward, and Willie is very quick to jump 2-3 paces to his right and field off his own bowling. And again, they will restrict Sri Lanka. So 5 overs have gone. 21 runs on the board for the loss of 2 wickets. You would say so far that England are rather on top of things. Nestlers.
Mr. Singh says that Sangakkara and Jayal Warden are retired, and sort of that's part of the problem for Sri Lanka, that they haven't got those star players.
Not to mention Murali.
Yeah. Chronic Maths Debater says glad Willie's back, no idea why he was dropped. And Brian Barish has sent in a rather stunning photo that he took last night on the way back from a football match. Philadelphia MLS played in front of a limitless crowd, the first time since October 2019. A limitless crowd. That means that you could have like 2 million there.
Well, I think limitless within the constraints of whatever stadium they
I know.
I don't think you just pile people on top of each other.
No.
You two are just making things up as you go along tonight.
Why
Jason's already invented a sort of a completely fabricated Johnny Bairstow hissy fit. You've reinvented the US government's rules for stadia control.
Anyway, new bowler.
We do have a new bowler, and it's this man.
Chris Jordan's back will make him cry more.
He's around the wicket, and he's
soon draw nigh. For if they don't, then it will seem he'll wish he'd joined the windy team.
marvellous. Well, his first ball was an attempted Pereira pull from outside off towards leg, and sadly he got nothing on it, and it was through to Johnny Bairstow, who may or may not have spat out his dummy in the dressing room, but don't take that as gospel truth. We think it's Jason's overactive imagination. In comes Jordan, pushed away to backward square. Adil Rashid runs around to field. There will just be a single. Good tight start for Jordan too. Same tactic, Jason.
Yes, short or length, dug into the pitch, no pace or little pace on it, hard to time.
Yeah,
it's yesterday all over again. Apart from perhaps Mark Wood, who will gallop through and send a few snorters up their noses, hopefully.
All over.
You were having a bit of a carpenter's moment there, weren't you? Yesterday once more. 5.2 overs bowled, 22-4-2, so all the twos as far as Sri Lanka are concerned. Are we seeing some spots of rain there? I did see a man with an umbrella. Jordan in. This one is lofted away past square leg. It's by the time it gets down to what I now know to be Liam Livingstone, it's all the way along the ground. It'll be another single to the score, 23-2.
Yeah, this match seems to have set, or what happened yesterday maybe set some Indians alight. Kohli fan says, "You giddy Englishman! India will show England who is world boss in T20."
Who's the giddy Englishman? Who do you think that is? You, me,
I don't know.
Jason?
I'm not English.
Oh, well, I think that's a distinction they may not have picked up on, as this one is slapped down the ground. Is it going to make it all the way? No, it's excellently fielded. It rather plugged it. It allowed two fielders to converge in between them to restrict the runs. Poor old Sri Lanka, even when they really do connect. The slightly sluggish outfield. Who is that came diving in? It's David Willey, isn't it? Who pulls the ball back quite expertly in what is now a well-practiced technique for fielders in this form of the game, to release the ball really quickly, so by the time they do crash into the boundary sponge, they've let go of the ball. So well fielded David Willey. 25-2 for Sri Lanka. We're 4 balls into this Chris Jordan over. He's coming around the wicket to the left-handed Pereira, who whistles it away on the 45. And who else would be on the 45 but Adil Rashid? And there is just a single. One ball left, and it'll be the last over, I think, of my stint for now. And we should be welcoming Jacob. Oh, he's here. I can see him in the green room, in the virtual green room. A treat for everyone.
It's to the end of 6.
Yeah, so we've now finished. I'm doing 1 to 7 inclusive.
Yes,
So
and this
that'll
is
be the next over.
is 6. Oh, so
This
next
is the
over. I
6.
thought you said one
Yeah.
more ball.
Yeah, there is no one more ball of this over, and then the next over. 26-4-2. There is one ball left of the 6th over. It is going to be bowled by Chris Jordan, who drops it in short. Now Bairstow is appealing, Jordan is appealing, but I can tell you that is that Alex Wharf or is it Mike Burns? It's quite hard to tell those two apart as well. I think it's Alex Wharf, but he wants nothing to do with it. There was a hint that maybe just a little bit of an edge there, Jason, but I don't think it was, do you?
Yeah, it was an effort ball, and he was well directed. I mean, he was right over the top of his helmet, but I'm not convinced that he got a tiny little feather on it.
No, I don't think so. Anyway, Nestlers, what have you got for us?
Mr. Singh and Kohli fan are talking. But we're great fans of the Sri Lankan greats, Mr. Singh, on this show. Like you say, Jaya Wardner and Murali, amazing.
Yep.
Mark Zips has sent a picture in. He's having lunch in the garden, and he says, hey, New York sports fan here, what are you talking about? Farong's with us, greetings from Dakar. Well, Middlesex are batting remarkably better than Sri Lanka. And Leia says, apart from cricket, I'm not really that much of a sports fan.
Okay.
Hombre Nuevo says, evening, fantastic gorillas. Feel sorry for Wokes. It seems a bit like they're trying to break him.
It does. Well, we're going to have a new bowler, Liam Livingstone. And he is going to be in to Pereira, who will move Sri Lanka onto 27. So their power play netted just 26 runs at a shade over 4 and over, which I think, Jason, you can safely say is not what the doctor ordered for them.
No, it is in fact worse than yesterday. I can't recall.
It is. No, it is. Yes, most definitely. I think they were on at about 5.5, 6 and over yesterday.
Was it 38 or 39 yesterday?
Yeah, yeah. So England have been even tighter, and as you rightly say, they've been bowling perhaps just a shade short of a length, banging the ball into the turf, and Sri Lanka have found it very hard to cope with. But now we've turned to spin. Often a mixed bag. You can get off breaks and leg breaks from Liam Livingstone. He adds a bit of versatility. Taken 50 first-class wickets, and obviously a wicket last night as well. As that one is steered away on the 45 there, and they will get a single for Mendes. He'll move on to 5.
Not a single boundary in the power play.
Not as you rightly say. Very close to them. Well, good spot, Nestlers.
That wasn't me. That was Francis Brett who tweeted in.
well done, Francis Brett. Some excellent fielding, though, to prevent that. And that one is slapped backward a point. But again, there is a man down there. It's Sam Curran. So again, it will just be a single. And this rather pedestrian start for Sri Lanka is now beyond the start. It's got beyond the power play into the 7th over. And they are just going at under 4.5 and over. And in this particular instance, Mendes, perhaps giving himself time to have a think about that, takes a couple of steps back and stops Livingston in his run-up, which of course is not a particularly long one. None for 3 of 4 deliveries for Liam Livingston from Lancashire. That one is a flighty leg break, beautifully bowled, and Livingston goes dashing over to preserve his own figures, although he didn't need to because he ended up taking it in front of the man at short cover. And there's an excellent delivery. This one is pulled straight to mid-wicket and Owen Morgan. 29-4-2. We've completed 7 overs. It's been frugal and tough stuff from England and very hard going for Sri Lanka, and I will hand over to Jacob, who will be on with Jason, and for the first time tonight, the Bear.
Good evening. All right, Jace. All right, Jacob. How are you, mate?
All good, thank you. How are you, Bear?
Oh, I'm very well, thanks. I'm not sure. I've got a bit of trepidation about this game after the excitement of the World Test Championship. It's a bit of it feels like a step down, even though the energy is supposed to be higher. But there you go.
Well, we've got a change of bowling now with Mark Wood coming on, if we're able to jingle him up.
We are indeed. Sounds like this.
Do you know Mark Wood?
Yes, he is an England bowler, quite good and pretty quick.
So just a normal guy.
Of course, except for just one thing.
What?
He thinks that he's a horse.
Right. What?
As in comes Mark Wood, who apparently believes he's a horse, and that strays onto leg stump, and Pereira, one of the 2 Kusals in the middle at the moment, flips it into leg side as far as Sam Curran, and that will just go for 1 run. I never knew that Mark Wood thought that he was a horse.
Did you not know that? Man,
I had no idea.
He trots around in the outfield.
I see.
That's where he got it from.
I still don't know where we get these jingles, but they're all fantastic. Good evening to you, Jason. How are you?
I'm very well. Nice to meet you for the first time. This is our first time on air together.
I believe it is. So, yeah, pretty, as Tony was saying, pretty pedestrian start from Sri Lanka. Not much in the power play, but they have their 2 anchors at the crease, the Kusals, Mendes and Pereira. Kusal Mendes, the captain, 5 off 13, and Pereira 12 off 16, as Wood is in to Pereira, who has a big old swipe at that, and it's gone down towards the 3rd man boundary, but excellently fielded by one of the confusingly facially haired people. I believe that be Dawid Malan down there.
That is correct. It's a Malan. Yeah, they do look, him and Livingston, are very similar facial hair.
And that the throw's gone into the keeper's end, and there will be just the 1 run. A pretty, as we were saying, pretty pedestrian start from Sri Lanka. Both batsmen out there at the moment, strike rates under 100, well under, in fact.
Yeah, well under.
Kusal Mendes is under 50.
Exactly. I mean, it's really pedestrian for T20. It's like I don't know what they're playing.
As Wood is in, round the wicket to the left-handed Pereira, and again strays too far down the leg side, and it's clipped towards fine leg, and I believe that's Milan again, running in, doing all sorts of jobs today down there at the back of the ground, getting the throw into Johnny Bairstow, who has apparently won the gloves from Jos Buttler through sheer anger and hissy fit, according to Jason.
Well, more than likely. Problem with they just there's too many ins and outs in the Sri Lankan side, isn't it? They don't. I mean, they look completely undercooked. You were saying that earlier, Jace, but I mean, they look completely on a different level at the moment.
Yeah, I think they had 1 warm-up match, and that was cancelled against Kent.
Oh.
As Wood is into Mendes, and that is flicked away backward of point and will go for 4.
That's the first of the innings.
It's Nissan She. It's Nissan She.
As Bear says, the first of the innings, that was whipped past the man at backward point. I don't think that was within catching range. No, it was always moving away from him, and it's just flown down to the boundary. The extra pace of Mark Wood, that was a short ball, cutaway and the extra pace of Mark Wood has carried it pretty swiftly to the boundary. The man from third man could not get round. As Wood is back into Mendes, and another short ball, and that's moved off the surface and gone through to Bairstow. 92 miles an hour from Mark Wood, nipped off the surface, over the top of our stump, completely beat Kusal Mendes on the outside edge, and he's done well not to nick that, actually.
He's done very well not to nick that. He got completely squared up. There's another postcode. Done for pace.
Johnny Bairstow there with a great ooh and ah of exasperation. As you say, he's completely squared up, front foot going nowhere, back hip coming round, and it's just beaten the outside edge of his bat as Wood is in again. That's shorter, that's flicked away back down towards third man, and Milan picks it up. 91 miles an hour from that time from Mark Wood. He's really injecting some pace on a pitch which is not necessarily receptive to it, Jason.
Nope, it isn't. And that's the end of the over, and I'll get through some tweets. Frong asks us, how did the England team get to be named after the Lions? It's the 3 lions on their shirt, the insignia.
Because some king way back in the day thought he was that brave as a lion, yeah? And
Yes.
so now we have 3 lions.
Jeff Perkins says, Sri Lanka taking note of Kane Williams' successful approach to batting, i.e. steadied the ship.
As we get the return of Liam Livingstone for his second over. And that's a flighty leg break into Mendes, who tucks it into the leg side for no run. Interesting bowler, Livingstone. He's like Akila Dhananjaya on the Sri Lanka side, an off break and a leg break bowler as he's in again. And that is slapped over extra cover.
Good
and
shot.
That will go for 4. An excellent cricket shot there from Kusal Mendes.
1, 2, 3, 4.
I
have to say, sorry, having seen him bowl in the flesh, it's very obvious whether it's an offie or a leggy that he's bowling.
Oh, I can imagine it.
You've still got to pick it and hit it.
As Livingston is in this time again with the leg break, and that's tucked into the leg side. Dhananjaya is a little less obvious. He used to have a dusha as well, but he was banned from bowling it, I believe, because of a slightly dodgy action.
Yeah, he used to push it out basically.
Livingston now coming in, I think, with the finger spin, and that's cut away nicely. And the run starting to flow here a bit for Sri Lanka. That will only be 2, I believe, as it trickles out to David Willey at deep point. So only the 2 for Kusal Mendes, but he's now got himself to 17 or 21.
Yeah, the ground fielding was excellent yesterday. Let's hope England can continue that today.
And Sri Lanka have pushed their run rate from just a tick over 3 or 4 to now almost 5, 4.96, as Kusal Mendes works one off his pads into the leg side. Just a little inside edge onto pad, I think, there, and it's looped up into the leg side, and they've scampered through for a single, as Livingstone has one more delivery left of the 9th over. And in he comes round the wicket to the left-handed Pereira, and has that got him? No, it hasn't. He's inside edged it onto his own foot, and it's bounced away from the stumps. That was very, very close for Kusal Pereira. Liam Livingstone still had his hand in the air in appeal, but completely ignored by umpire Alex Wolf, I believe that is.
I'm not sure. I think they're seeing whether it went down onto his foot and then was then caught. That's the only thing I can think of, because
they are checking it.
Because it was a massive inside edge, so you can't be appealing for LBW.
Because Bairstow appealed for it as well, I think. He was holding the ball aloft in his glove. They will have a check. I don't know. Did they give a soft signal?
No, they didn't give a soft signal. For this, they don't have to give a soft signal for this. They just kind of go upstairs and go, did it hit his foot and bounce out, or did it hit the ground?
Right, they're having a look. The soft signal, of course, creating some... No, that's hit the ground. Yes. Creating some controversy in the recent test series. It's been mooted to be scrapped altogether, but that's been inside edged by Pereira, I believe it is, onto his pad, into the ground, and there will be no wicket. Not out loads on the big screen.
Yeah, with
that is the end of Livingstone's over.
The thing about the soft signal, I don't know how this is going to work, because if the umpire doesn't give a soft signal, I mean, the foreshortening of TV looks like everything drops short anyway, or the ground hits the ball. But someone rightly points, if you've got your fingers under the ball and the grass has come between your fingers, it doesn't mean it's not cool. But it can look like, because, the grass is 3 centimetres, 4, 5 centimetres, well, probably only 3 or 4 centimetres deep. So your hands go into the grass, it looks like you've grounded it.
As Wood has one batted back down the ground by Mendes, but only as far as Chris Jordan at mid-off and there will be no run. Yeah, I suppose the issue is that when you get the soft signal and the umpires are, in some cases, 20 yards away or something, if it's for a slip catch, the square leg umpire has the best view. It kind of ties the third umpire's hands. And so if you're going to use the technology, if you're saying the technology has the power to decide, let it decide, I suppose.
Yeah, but I mean, that's the problem, isn't it? The foreshortening of the TV. I mean, I remember before they had the soft signal, it was always we need a soft signal because you can't tell on the TV, It's like... As
Mendes attempts to ramp a short ball off wood, a quick 90-mile-an-hour short ball, and he's completely missed it, and it's gone through to Bairstow. Yeah, I see what you mean.
Often the umpire is much closer than the camera is, even with a telephoto lens, because the camera's often sighted 80-90 yards away, and even with the telephoto lens it still has a strong foreshortening effect.
Exactly. I mean, to a certain degree you have to go on fielding. I mean, there's been some dodgy examples in the past that are obvious, but those ones are really obvious. They bounce and then someone claims them, it's like that you can see.
As Wood is in again to Mendes, another quick and shortish ball on a length, but that's leapt through. 92 miles an hour, no wonder it's leapt through, but that has really got some pace off the pitch and beaten the outside edge of Mendes again.
He doesn't look particularly comfortable at 92 miles an hour, does he? It's like I know he's trying to work it down there, but it looks like he's backing away.
Yeah, perhaps a little bit. He's getting very wide with his front foot, it's stepping outwards a little bit, and it's bringing his back hip round a lot.
But Mendes was a man not particularly in form coming into this series anyway. He's had a series of low scores in test matches. I'm not sure about his white ball credentials.
Wood is in again, and he's definitely backed away in that case, but he's just run it off the face down to third man, and that will be fielded by Dawood Malan, and just the one run. Yeah, I see what you mean there, but the good thing for him is even with that back hit coming through, it's actually easier not to nick the ball. It's easier to miss it, and at Wood's pace, unless he gets it very full, it's not going to hit the stumps. So he's relatively safe.
And I guess he figures if he gets something fine on it, it goes for 4 anyway because there's no slips. And a little bit wider, and he out the middle, and he gets it for 4 for down for third man because they haven't got everything covered. But they got the man in the middle for the dab, which he seems to get, or he misses it. So I don't know.
Unless he feathers it through to the keeper or gets his stumps cleaned up, he's relatively safe despite looking very panicked as Wood is in round the wicket to Pereira, and that's again too straight and clipped off the legs down to fine leg, and it'll just be the one run. Another quick ball from Wood, another quick over from him, but he's going currently at 5 and over, which is a little more expensive than you'd like.
Oh shit, I forgot about the GPL. The GPL finishes in 1 minute. There's 80 quid in it.
Get your bids in. Get your bids in.
Someone's put a bid in. Ombre Nuevo's in on 297. I think that's a bit high, mate. I'm not sure Shine going to get to 120 at this rate.
Ravinair says on YouTube, Jacob is a Surrey fan. Nice. But unfortunately, he sounds like not Fred. Unnice. So that's damning with faint praise. Jeffrey Boycott says, not that Jeffrey Boycott, says, these Sri Lankans aren't better than my granny.
Where are you based, Jacob?
That Jeffrey Boycott.
Are you in London?
Yeah, by all rights and purposes, I should be a Middlesex fan, but because I'm in North London, but I am a Surrey fan. I don't know where this fan has found us out. I mentioned it once on a broadcast a while ago, a few weeks ago now, and Wood is back in, and that's ramped by Kusal Mendes down to fine leg, but Adil Rashid saw what was coming, sprinted round the boundary and managed to save 4, and that is the end of Mark Wood's over, his second, the 10th of the match, and we are halfway through the innings. Jason?
There's nothing on Twitter at the moment. I'm just looking through some other YouTube comments. Yes, Mr. Singh is still chuntering away with how badly England will beat India. RIP India, he says.
Well, it's interesting that we slated England's test team against New Zealand so badly, but India didn't do that much better, did they? Let's be honest. And New Zealand clearly were the better side. I mean, they got for English conditions, they have a really well-balanced side. I think India made a mistake picking 2 spinners, although, Ashwin got a couple of wickets in each innings, but Bumrah didn't really come to the party. And finally, we get to this man.
Speaking of spin, we've got Adil Rashid.
Yeah.
Adil Rashid on the 45. Adil Rashid on the 45.
And Rashid's first ball is clipped into the leg side towards mid-on by Kusal Pereira, and I don't believe they've taken a run, so that will be a... No, there has been a run.
Yeah.
So, into the leg side, and Kusal Pereira is now on strike to the leg spinner Rashid, who predominantly bowls googlies to the left-hander, but that looks like a leg break, and it's swept hard by Pereira, but again just to the man in the deep, David Willey I believe that is, and there'll be only one run. Nice rotation of the strike by the Sri Lankans, but they might want to unchain it pretty soon. They're currently at a run rate of 4.74, 49 off 10 overs. They're on track to only make about 90, so they really need to get into gear, as Rashid is back in. Short ball and pulled hard by Kusal Mendes, but again finding Sam Curran in deep, and they just can't seem to split the field. They got a couple of boundaries off Livingston, but other than that, they've really struggled to pierce the field.
They need to get it up and over, or find the gaps. One of them. They've got to start hitting some boundaries, or this is going to be a poultry score.
As Rashid is in over the wicket to Pereira, who's reverse swept that with a massive top edge, and it's been stopped by, I believe that's Milan, thrown in by Wood, and there was nearly a run out at the striker's end, but diving home was Kusal Pereira to make it back for 2.
I mean, it's like they've come in here and never batted on a pitch like this before in their life. I mean, they must be used to quite slow wickets in Sri Lanka, where they are. And they've been here for a while. I mean, you've got to get in with the pace of the wicket.
As Rashid bowls a shortish googly to Pereira, who clips that into the leg side, probably just for one there as Billings comes in. Yeah, you're right there, Bear. They're really struggling to accelerate on a slowish wicket, which they would be used to in Sri Lanka, but then obviously it spins more over there, but it's usually pretty slow.
Yeah, well, exactly. In fact, it's probably a little bit more, uneven over there. You've got to be able to. They must be able to lift it up and over and into the stands.
As Rashid is in again, relatively short, banging it into the pitch and clipped into the leg side by Mendes again, just for 1. They thought about 2 there, but Mendes had to scamper back. Oh no, they've taken 2 actually. Very good running by Sri Lanka. Quick. No, have they taken 2 there?
I don't know.
Yes, they have. Very good running from Sri Lanka. They've scampered through 2. Yeah, I suppose, Bear, the issue is that it's a lot drier in Sri Lanka, whereas here it might be sticking in the pitch a bit more, not quite coming onto the bat in the way they want to.
Yeah, but you've got to find a way. I mean, how long? I don't know how long they've been here, but I mean, they've probably been practicing it up and had wickets out in the middle for practice. They've got a whole load of spinners who'll be, they might not be used to conditions either, but at least they'll be doing a similar sort of things to England's spinners and the fast bowlers and whatever. They should be used to the fact that it's getting a bit stuck in the pitch and trying to find ways that they're going to get it out into the gaps where they need to, the array of shots they need to find the gap, and being able to find the middle of the bat and get it into the bloody stands.
Well, Mendes and Pereira have faced a cumulative 52 balls between them.
Andy Ward would be having a fit right now. They got 8.
Chris Jordan comes back onto bowl.
Well, if I was Morgan, I wouldn't change a thing. I'd just keep them in. No.
As Morgan is in, Jordan is in rather. That's relatively short and slapped towards mid-on by Pereira, but fielded somewhat bunglingly by David Willey. He sort of overshot it and got it on the second attempt, but it will just keep them to 1 run. It wasn't a terrible misfield.
I mean,
as it brings Mendes on strike.
The fact is that after having lost 2 initial wickets and these 2 having taken a couple of balls to get settled, if you're going to get a big score, you just got to carry on going and carry on going and carry on going. If someone's going to stay there, the other guy has to be trying to smash it out of the park. And if he gets out, he gets out. You've got 10 wickets and only 20 overs. It's not. It's a kind of zero-sum game. You just got to go the whole way through. You can't be screwing around like this, or you get nowhere.
As Jordan is in with that last run, they brought their run rate over 5 for the first time in the match. As Mendes tries to just paddle one round the corner from Jordan just down to third man, but completely missed it, and it skids into the pad of Bairstow, slightly dying on the wicketkeeper there. And the run rate is again back under 5 with that dot ball. England are really containing Sri Lanka here, and they're going to struggle to set a total that's defensible.
Well, I mean, the average score apparently in T20, I don't particularly follow the T20 last, but the average is about 150, 160. That's a good
as
shot.
that's pulled high and hard from Mendes, and it will go for 6.
Finally.
A faster, shorter ball from Jordan, and Mendes has pulled it round the corner off the back foot, and it has gone all the way back into the second, third or fourth row, which is saying something for this inning. First 6 of the inning.
That's a better shot. Finally got hold of one.
Jordan airing in line there slightly, sliding a short ball down the leg side, and it was quick. It wasn't a slower ball. It was an 87 mile an hour delivery, and all that Pereira had to do was just help it on its way over the rope round the corner. As Jordan is back in looking for a reply, and that's wider and fuller, and Mendes has a big old swipe at it outside the off stump, completely misses it, and now seems to be signalling for either a drink or some gloves or something, but I don't know if he'll get it.
I mean,
Swipe.
This is the odd thing, isn't it? If England bowl length here, they don't seem to be able to hit it. I mean, in most T20s, the one thing you can't bowl is length because it goes out the park. But I mean, they're struggling to hit length.
I mean, we haven't seen a Yorker yet. This pitch is apparently conducive to banging it in, but we've not seen anyone try and get one up on the batsman's toes. As Jordan is back into Mendes again, a little short and flicked back down towards fine leg, but Adil Rashid is there to field it, and they'll just have the 1.
I mean, that's not even turned out as bad. There's like 3 dot balls, a 6 and a 1 this over. It's actually not that bad for a T20 over, even with a 6 in it.
Yeah, Chris Jordan still managing to keep it relatively tight despite that one mistake. He's a clever operator though, Chris Jordan, England's top wicket taker in T20 international history, I believe, and he's not one to be underestimated despite not quite having the pace or the X factor which you think of in someone like a Mark Wood. As that's pulled in the air, and he's dropped it. That's dropped. That is a pretty harsh drop from, I believe that's David Milan. Yes, it is. It's pulled high off the top edge, and David Milan sprinting round from fine leg has put in the diving effort, and it's gone through his hands. Let's have a look at this. That's pulled from Pereira. He's got right on the top edge of that. David Milan has done really all the hard work. He's got to it. He's put in the dive, and it's gone straight through his fingertip.
I'm not sure he quite got there. Yeah, he didn't quite get it. He slightly misjudged it, didn't he?
Yeah, he's got a fingertip to that. He maybe could have done a little bit more, but he did most of the hard work at least, and that's an unfortunate drop. You can't really blame him. But
Chris Jordan's not happy.
Chris Jordan had his hands on his head, then did the double teapot. He was uncomfortable with that drop as Adil Rashid comes back on for his next over. As he bowls to Mendes a bit short again. He's bowling quite a short length, Adil Rashid. He's not pitching it up so much or giving it much flight, and the Sri Lankans will scamper through there for 2.
He's chuntering away on the outfield.
Yes.
It's Jordan. Yeah, I
He's
think
got no need to pitch it up at the moment.
Well, exactly. I think if you drag it down,
he just needs to bowl a length.
Exactly. Drag it down, hit into the outfield for a single. You're happy 6 and over. Don't make a mistake, you get a wicket.
Rashid does put some more flight on that, and it's swept hard from Mendes, but only as far as Livingston in the deep, and that'll just come through for the 1. No boundaries yet off Rashid, I believe, or maybe there has been. He's got 11 off 1.2 overs, so there might have been 1 or 2. I can't remember one.
I mean, even to get to 120, they've got about 10 and over from here. And considering they don't look like getting anywhere near that.
That brings up the 50 partnership from 54 from Pereira and Mendes as
out.
Pereira reverse sweeps that, and it's straight to Owen Morgan. Completely mistimed it, and he's reverse swept it in front of square and found Owen Morgan just about head height. That is a pretty soft dismissal just after the 50 partnership has been brought up. A poor shot and really an easy catch.
Fuck off! Just fuck off!
He's caught that right on the toe end, hasn't he, Bear? Well, Bear's off. Bear's on a hunt.
Yep. That's the worst of all possible results for Sri Lanka. No, to score slowly and then get out just when you want to accelerate.
Just after the 50 partnership as well. But Jason, now we've got a bit of time. What are we looking on the socials? Mr. Singh still doing his thing, his Singh thing?
We found someone else who's a Middlesex dweller who supports Surrey, Spicy Golden Duck. His excuse is that he once lived in Kennington for 4 years and he prefers the Oval over Lords, which to some extent I can agree. Lords is an acquired taste in many respects.
What, for the stuff for the suits and toffs, basically? Is that what we're trying to say here?
Possibly.
Possibly.
As brought to the crease is Niroshan Dick Weller, who certainly can play his shot.
He certainly can play his shots. Now, is he going to do
Do we
it?
have a jingle?
Yeah, we do have a jingle. It sounds like this.
And you've been called the Bill Oddie guy, Bear, by Shrek on YouTube.
But until keepers out some way. Soon will Dick Wellerman come to bring Sri Lanka tea and fun. One day he'll get caught, or Miss Churchill leave and go.
As there is some excitement at the non-strikers' end as Sri Lanka have scampered through for 2 off Adil Rashid, and there was an attempt at a run out, but I think that Mendes was pretty safely home despite the decent throw. That must be a pretty recent jingle, Bear, with Owen Morgan didn't even have that in his hands. He's dropped it. It would have been out if he had
Yeah, it would have been. That is one. That wasn't the jingle I was expecting, actually. But hey ho.
Given the recency of the fame of that particular sea shanty, as Adil Rashid is into the left-handed Dick Weller, who comes down the pitch and tucks it into the leg side, and they may just have the one there. Yes, they will.
Well, of course, the reason we got that jingle was, I think, exactly that. The sea shanties were very popular when we were playing Sri Lanka at the beginning of this year. So someone sent us in a Dick Weller sea shanty.
Very nice, very nice. As Adil Rashid is in for the final ball of his over, this time Kusal Mendes, who again sweeps, but will only find the man in the deep, Sam Curran, and I think they will just scamper through for 1. And that is the end of the 13th over. I believe at the end of this next over, at the end of the 14th, we're going to have a chain.
Yep.
Yep.
So we will just get through this one then, and I'll be off. I'll be replaced by... No, I'm not off.
You're not off.
Not.
Me and you are switching places, and Nestlers is joining us. Jason's off.
Yep.
He's
asking on YouTube if the Bill Oddie guy, that's you, Bear, is doing shisha. He obviously doesn't know you very well. He must be a new convert to the Gorillas.
What did he say?
Are you doing shisha? Because he's seen you vape.
Ah, yes, I'm a vapor man. There's no weed in it.
I believe the technical term is vapist.
Yes. Well, over here it is. Yeah. I mean, people do call it shisha, but just because it's the bigger ones, I suppose. But I need a good lungful.
As Mark Wood comes back on for his 3rd over, do you think we'll see him bowl straight through, or?
I'd imagine so.
We've still got Livingston to come back for a couple, and Adil Rashid's bowling as Wood is in, and Mendes backs away and has a big heave-ho across the line, which was going down the leg side, and that will run away for 4.
1 2 ka 4 4 2 ka 1. My name is Lakhan. My name is Lakhan.
He's lucky he got the direction right there, because he didn't get the length. I mean, the distance right, did he? But he must have known there was no one down there.
The fuller ball from Mark Wood, 90 miles an hour, and he's followed Mendes, who's backed away, and he's had a bit of a swipe, bit of a heave to cow corner, and thankfully cow corner was vacant. As Wood is in again to Mendes, shorter this time, and that's gone straight up in the air. Who's going to claim it? It's straight up, and Bairstow runs out and takes the catch. Mendes gone for 39.
That's just not great, is it? He's the one man who's in, and he's taken an age to get where he is, and then he pops one up in the air, and he's now gone.
Yeah, pretty poor shot there from Mendes. It was off the splice of his bat, and it's gone straight up, and Johnny Bairstow has run out screaming for the keeper's catch, and he's made it absolutely safely. Never really in doubt with Johnny Bairstow. Good pair of hands. Second only to Chris Jordan probably in this outfield, and Kusal Pereira is gone.
Yeah, another poor wicket. I mean, how many balls did he take to get to 39?
37-ish, 38.
So he just about caught up to 100. Meanwhile, using up 6 overs. I mean, you just can't do that in a T20. It's just nonsense.
Dara Azizi on YouTube asked a question which I think is probably in every listener's ears: is this really a contest? How does this help England in their quest for T20 glory at the end of the year?
It doesn't. You know what? I think they just need to be playing T20. I mean, T20 is such a simple game in idea. It's just see ball, hit ball. All that's going to happen is, I mean, they've got loads of players playing in the IPL. It's going to be on a slow turning wicket, so that's going to be in Abu Dhabi or UAE. Loads of them played in the IPL and the UAE before. They'll go back and play a little bit maybe of IPL. They won't actually, because they'll go to Pakistan because England come first. But you just have to be playing T20 when you get to the World Cup. I don't think you can really prepare for a T20. You just get the team together, pick your best one, go out there and see how it goes.
As Wood is in to Dick Weller, who's popped that up in the air, and he's gone now. Owen Morgan taking the catch at cover. Niroshan Dick Weller has got no timing on that, trying to whip it into the leg side, and it's just come off the edge of his bat, gone looping to Owen Morgan at cover, and that's 2 in 2 for Mark Wood. He's on a hat-trick.
I won't look back, 'cause by the time that I do, you'll be gone.
I mean, this is just poor. We've got to play 3 ODIs against this lot as well, haven't we?
Well, I think some of these, I don't know about Pakistan in a couple of months, but maybe this one was added a bit late to the calendar, as well as Pakistan.
To be fair, there was a lot
during COVID.
There was also a lot going on in Sri Lanka. They're all over here they're not on contracts, are they? Because they're in dispute with their board. You can imagine that around the camp, they're just in a pretty demoralised place, really.
Yeah, I thought the situation was that they jumped these 2 series against Sri Lanka and Pakistan into the calendar just as a little thank you for coming over and letting us play and for letting us go there during COVID.
They might well have done. And I don't know. I mean, I don't know how much the Sri Lankans get paid per match, but they're not up in the top echelons of the ICC and da-di-da-di-da. So I imagine it's to be a professional cricketer in Sri Lanka is quite a hard thing, and everyone wants to be one. And if you're not getting the money and the kudos or whatever,
it's the same reason we announced that tour to Pakistan. I believe we're touring as a test team, and also we've extended the tour of the West Indies we're meant to be doing next year, kind of as a little.
I thought we'd actually added a little series. Oh yeah, no, we've extended it to 4 tests, haven't we? It was going to be a 2 or 2
I think they
tests
added a test and some white ball games. Mark Wood is in on the hat-trick ball, and he beats the outside edge there, but there will be no hat-trick as Wanindu Hasaranga has come to the crease, as has Dasan Shanaka. We should try and jingle them around.
So who have we got? We got Dasan Shanaka.
Dasan Shanaka and Wanindu Hasaranga.
He came here from Sri Lanka as an all-round debutee. He bowled okay, but with the bat he averaged less than 3. Dasan Shanaka, we'll have to wait and see if he's
as
good
Mark Wood is
enough
into Hasaranga, who dabs that into the offside, and there'll be no run.
And Hasaranga, you
Dasan
say?
Shanaka.
It all slides away, but don't look back, Hasaranga. I heard you say.
As Mark Wood marches to the top of his run-up for this final ball before we introduce Nestlers and have a change, as Wood is into the recently jingled Hasaranga, and that's short and flapped at by Wanindu Hasaranga outside the off stump, 93 miles an hour for Wood, and that is the end of the over. So we will bid farewell to Jason, who has done his job excellently.
I'll be back later.
I reckon the second innings last 14 overs at this rate, if we're lucky.
Well, we shall see as I move over to summary and the bear onto ball by ball, as Nestlers will take you through our social.
Wow, thank you very much.
Yeah, the social YouTube is on fire. Shrek wants to know what top 3 commentators of all time. Well,
me, and me.
I'd have Richie Benno in there for sure. Jacob looks like Bruno Fernandes, he says as well.
Ah, yes. Now there you go.
Gonna have to Google him.
It was good football last night, wasn't it? All that final group.
Brilliant.
That was really good. Much better than this. That was driven by Shanaka. Tried to beat cover, but skipper Morgan is there and he can't beat him and there's no run. 76 for 5 after 14 overs. It's really
poor.
shite.
Very, very poor.
Is it poorer than yesterday?
Oh, it's kind of more interesting.
Really?
For some reason.
Well, it's only interesting the fact that they're completely self-destructing. I don't think they know how to play the game. Attempted hoik out into the outfield on the leg side by Shanaka, but he under edges it back past Adil Rashid, who has to chase it down himself because they're out on the bloody boundary, and they'll get a single.
Mr. Singh says Jacob is on fire.
Ah, there you go.
You got a fan.
Oh, Mr. Singh, thank you very much. I've also just looked up Bruno Fernandes, and I'm deeply complimented that I look like this exotic Portuguese footballer.
It might be just the
I'm
zoom.
nowhere near
It might be the zoom and the lighting, but basically you get your beard and the shape of the hair. It's all quite similar, yeah. That's pulled out to deep square leg where Sam Curran is fielding. Hasaranga will get himself off the mark. But the run rate is 5.38. They're 78 for 5 in the 14.3 after 14.3 overs. And going nowhere fast. Adil Rashid is in. It's attempted sweep. There is a man under 45 who is, I think, Liam Livingstone. Even from this distance, I think he looks slightly different from Dawar Malan. And that'll be no run.
There's a lot of chatter about the Pakistan team being very good. That England might have a problem.
Well, yeah. I clipped into the leg side and into the vacant mid-wicket area. Of course, everyone's on the boundary, so it was hit with so little force that they managed to get back for 2.
Didn't South Africa do pretty well against Pakistan in their white ball tour?
Yeah, they're a bit up and down, but I mean they were ranked number 1 not that long ago. I mean they've got some bloody good players, and what's his name? Tall bowler.
Afridi, Shaheen.
Yes,
Afridi.
Shaheen Afridi is quality, especially opening innings in a T20. Well, it's quick. He's tall.
They had a batsman as well, wasn't it? Was it? Who was it in that tour who scored a couple of hundreds or something? Was it Fakhar Zaman or?
Well, Fakhar Zaman is all right. You got Babar Azam. They've got a good team. I mean, they're just so up and down. Pakistan. They can be mercurial one day and shit the next, but they got some quality players. But just dabbed down behind square on the leg side by Hasaranga. No, sorry, yeah. No, Shanaka, sorry. And we'll get a single. Yeah.
Mr. Singh is really upset. India is the worst. Who make the whole country cry, and he's still not overcome with such a shameful defeat. Well, Mr. Sunil,
you got beaten by a better side on the day.
It's sport. You don't always get.
Get what you want.
As the Stone said once.
What you want. Exactly.
And he is still too angry with Indian worst defeats. But they're a top side. They're number 2 in the world in tests.
Listen, you spanked us after doctoring your pitches over in India after we beat you.
Don't stay him off.
Wood is in, squared up Shanaka, and it's gone off the top of the pads out behind square on the offside. There ain't no run. And I think you say you think you're going to get beaten by England. I mean, I'm pretty confident that we'll actually beat you, and we're not very good at the moment, but at home I think we'll do India. I think it'll be 3-1, possibly even 3-0 with some dodgy draw there somewhere because of weather.
I mean, I think it depends what sort of pitches come out, but all the indications are going to be that they're going to be a bit low and slow and in preparation for the Ashes.
Well, they say that, but that's defended on the back foot and there's no run. My defence in this situation is exactly what India said. They said they weren't going to create some raging Bunsen burners because they wanted to prove that they could beat us on da-da-da-da, and they lost that first test. And they only lost it because they lost the toss. That's kind of how it goes on flat, slow wickets. The wicket did eventually break up. But England, Root got a double ton and we put 500 odd on the board. And they didn't like it. And so the immediate reaction was to go back to what you know. And I don't know if the ECB aren't that dissimilar. If we lose the first test because we create some wicket that's actually fair and they can bat on better than us, and their bowlers can't exploit as well as ours, who are in home conditions, as that's played out off the hip. by Shanaka out to square leg, and there is one. And then it wouldn't surprise. I mean, it does. To be fair, I mean those 2 games against New Zealand were some of the sunniest days consecutively I've seen in Test matches for quite a long time. And even then, when it was humid, the ball was swinging around. But and I thought Jimmy and Broad were a little unlucky. They bowled some really good spells and didn't pick up the edges, which I think they will get against the Indians because they'll fish a little bit more. They were very disciplined, New Zealand batsmen in that Test series. Up into the armpit by Woody on Hasaranga. He manages to just about get inside it. Plays it airy out square on the leg side. Drops well short. The man coming in for the boundary, and I get the single. 8-3 for 5.
Yeah, I think you're right there, Bear. And the thing is that for some reason, I don't think anyone can claim that Jimmy Anderson can't swing the ball as much as Trent Boult or Tim Southee did.
No.
But every time England got the ball, the amount of average swing kind of halved. Whereas when New Zealand came onto bowl, it always seemed the conditions allowed them to swing it more, as well as the skill of their bowlers.
Well, yeah, I mean, I particularly think in that second test we were a little bit unlucky on day 2 when they got us out on day 1, and it was really humid and overcast and swinging a mile. On the second day the conditions are very same, except for it was really windy, and that just doesn't help swing. Beat on the outside edge is Shanaka, just prodding at it, horrible shot. Front foot goes out to the leg side, prods his bat at it, misses it thankfully, and it goes through the Bearstone. There's no run. Did I just see a slip in there? Is that how bad this has got?
Quite possibly, yeah. I think you're right about the Indians will fish more. The New Zealand batsmen were very disciplined, but I think you are right here as well that there is a slip in as Wood has 2 for 17, and they're looking to clean up the Sri Lankan tail and get them all out.
I mean,
cheap.
What did they get yesterday? They at least got 120 yesterday. It was 117 or something. Wood in, last ball of the over. It's in again, shortish. Jabbed pull by Shanaka out to square leg. Man comes in for the boundary, gets a 6, retains the strike. He's 6 off 10. Hasaranga's 2 off 5. Appalling score rates considering they're in the 16th over of T20. But get this, they're only on 84 for 5. Average club side to do just about as well as this.
Legacy AD Brian 15 says his best commentators are Benno, Crozier and Maxwell. Spicy Golden Duck asks what do the Gorillas think about this match being broadcast on BBC Two in addition to Sky. Well, anytime it's on free to air is a good thing, I think.
I imagine BBC Two will get better viewing, although actually when they watch it they'll go fuck this and turn it off.
Chris TB says we did not do that well in Pakistan. Rizwan ate us alive across formats. Brian's asking why I'm still paying attention to that dude.
Full floaty one from Adil Rashid on about leg stump, clipped into the leg side by Shanaka. Better batsman probably would have tried to clamp it out of the ground, but they get a single out to deep mid wicket in the 17th over.
Yeah, they're in a tricky spot here.
They got to go. They've still got 5 wickets in the heart. You've only got bloody 24 balls left, 23 now.
Yeah,
you've got to try and swing it out the park. I mean,
however, they're only nominally all-rounders, and they're facing England's best ever white ball spinner and a 95-mile-an-hour bowler from the other end.
Yeah, that's true. He's done though. That's a cut out to the point boundary. Billings is out there, and there's no run. I mean, this is it. Your experienced guys at the top are the ones who've got to do it. They've got to wind their head in. I mean, the management needs to say, if you lose big. Because there's no point in losing shit. You might as well, you're better off being out all for 40 and just going home, and the sort of wheedling out 80 and going nowhere fast. It's going to be knocked off in about 10 or 11 overs. Worked out on the leg side
we'll
by Shanaka for a single.
Back in the next over as Adil Rashid's coming out now, and then I think they'll give it to Jordan, Willie and Curran for the death, won't they?
Yeah, Curran's got 2, Jordan's got 2 I think, and that's it.
Oh, so that carries us through to the end.
Yeah, Wood bowled 3 I think, didn't he? Willie I think bowled 3, maybe 4 at the top. I'd have to look. Oh, he's out, stump, terrible. Saranga, head up in the air, comes charging down a wicket on his 6th ball, having scored 3 runs, misses it completely. It's a really easy stumping, even for Johnny Bairstow, who's an iron gloves man. But he couldn't miss that. And Adil Rashid gets himself a wicket, and Sri Lanka subside to 85 for 6. I've got to find a wicket jingle.
On your
That was a pretty good bowling from Adil Rashid. He's deceived Hasaranga there. He's slid one out, kind of just almost out the back of his hand, and made him think that it's the googly. I think he tried to pick it. He's come down, tried to have a big heave over the leg side, thinking it's the googly, and Adil Rashid has disguised the leg spinner quite nicely there.
Yeah, he's a class limit over his bowlers these days, isn't he, Adil Rashid? He's got all the tricks in the box. People do say he's hard to pick. These guys won't have seen him much. Doesn't play Test cricket. Wasn't over there. I do feel a little sorry for Sri Lanka.
Just looking at his hand position, it was kind of almost completely turned round as it would be for the googly. So it just looks like it's coming out that way, but it's actually come out the front of the hand and been the leg spinner.
It's Olivier Giroud in bat.
That was a googly, but it's tossed up one outside the off stump. And Udana, who I shall give a jingle for, has just played that out to the covers, and there's no run. He doesn't look that much like an all-rounder, but he probably can hit a long ball. He has a jingle that goes like this, so I shall talk over it.
He was selected on a Monday and my heart.
Next ball is just defended. Standard leg break, defended out through. There's a deep man cover on the edge of the circle. It'll be a single.
Yeah, so this jingle shit, but the other jinglers quit. Yeah, it was knocked up way too quick. Get done, I say
Well, Dara Azizi says, should we play our reserves against this team? And my cunt just says, Sri Lanka, LOL.
Yeah, I mean, there's teams like Sri Lanka, the West Indies, who have had great sides, and the finances aren't there. They're small nations. The same with New Zealand. You got to hand it to them. For a small nation, they don't play a lot of Test cricket. Series at home. I remember reading an article in the Guardian a few years ago about how they basically structured home cricket. Everyone wanted Test cricket, but it was basically a lost leader. And so every time a team comes to New Zealand, they generally play 5 T20s, 3 ODIs and 2 Tests, because they make the money out of the short form, but everyone wants to see the Tests, and it's the only way they can actually survive. And I imagine there's some other nations like that. Jordan is back into the attack. Length ball sliding down, but Udana gives himself some room, misses it, and it goes through the Bearstone. There's no run. Misses leg stump.
Jeff Perkins says Sri Lankans making a point to their board about what you get without agreeing to contracts.
Well, this is true as well. But I guess if the money's not there, pandemics hit the world and screwed everyone up. But I don't know what your thoughts are. We've never talked about this, Jacob, but a lot of people on here think that the ICC should have some sort of central funding deal going on. Slapped, good shot, good timing. Udana just stepped back, gave it the pumpty. Couldn't beat mid-off, who's Mark Wood on the edge of the circle, and he'll only get one though.
Well, on that point, I was reading today that for countries outside the big three, every Test series they host loses them on average $40,000, which is just ludicrous and cannot be used to encourage Test cricket. So one of the ideas put forward is this ICC World Test Cricket Fund, which incentivises playing tests and also restructuring the World Test Championship so that you basically allow people to play shorter Test series and longer Test series and get equal points for it.
Absolutely. Well, that's short by Jordan. Too short, because in fact it has been given as a wide.
Wide.
It's the only way you're going to expand the game. Zimbabwe were good at one point. Great teams like South Africa struggle with funding now. It's you can't just have India, Australia and England. England are even really, it's only because of the fact that we live in a sort of Western, the actual audience figures aren't great, as that's through the keeper and there's no run. It's a slower ball by Jordan, and Shanaka just flays at it and misses it.
What do you mean, at the ground or
No,
or
on the
TV?
The TV figures.
Yeah.
I remember having a chat with Michael Vaughan. I think I've said this before, when I was doing the World Cup. We were in a hotel in Taunton. And it's basically Sky don't care, because they earn the money out of subscription. So it's not a question of how many people are actually watching, it's how many people are subscribing. And it's a valuable thing to them. Hoyt down to long on and out. David Willey catches it down there. Jordan, well, at least he's got the right idea. I mean, for fuck's sake, Shanaka's number 9, and he's coming. At least he's got the right idea. He's tried to give it Humpty from the off. Well, he hasn't actually. He's faced at 14 balls anyway. But, at least he's tried to clear the boundary. He hasn't, and you can't blame him. He's tried to smash it over the ropes at long on, but he's only found David Willey down at deep long on, and in fact is out. This is really a shambles from Sri Lanka.
Dara Azizi wonders whether we should give Sri Lanka a 75-run head start.
You might need to make it competitive. I mean, it's just poor.
Just going back to that thing you were talking about, Sky and that. I mean, would the viewing figures be higher on BBC?
Oh yes, totally. Well, when the World Cup final was on Channel 4, they had 6.4 million viewers. I mean, the average viewing for the World Cup, I don't know what it was, but it was in the hundreds of thousands. It wasn't in over a million. The group games all the way up, and you just stick one game on Channel 4, boom.
Why is this game on BBC 2?
Because probably they don't want to put it on BBC 1.
No, but why is it on the BBC television?
Well, this is the new. Well, because everyone complains about the whole free-to-air thing and the fact that cricket's dying, and it's just like. You got to remember this was taken. I can't remember who took it off the white roll or whatever it was, protected.
It was
stuff.
just after 2005, wasn't it? So it would be.
It must have been Tony Blair's lot.
Tony Blair or Gordon Brown.
And it's a really short-sighted thing. It's a national sport. It needs to be in front of national eyes. I mean, rugby got it right. I mean, okay, the championship or whatever it is, that is defended out into the covers, which is not really what you need to be doing on the 5th ball of the 18th over of a T20. But here's number 9. I always think rugby got it right. They kept the Six Nations and the big things were still going to be free to air, and they were fine. The championship and all that kind of stuff, they was fine to go behind a paywall. But the stuff that really matters that people actually watch, which is international stuff, needed to be on free to air. And it doesn't matter even about away tests. It's the home summer stuff. Full Yorker length wide of the off stump, and Dan and Jar can't get anything on it, and there ain't no run.
Well, another interesting idea I saw about kind of how to expand the test game globally is that when people tour the UK, when they tour India, when they tour South Africa, you can just tack on a test or two against Afghanistan, against Ireland, against Zimbabwe, who are all within the area, and so make that as like a warm-up test as part of their tour. When Australia tour here, for example, they could play a couple against Ireland
as a warm-up and stuff. I think that's right. But I mean, you look at someone like Australia's attitude towards some of these nations. I mean, ours is bad, but Australia's is terrible. I mean, how many times have they, bugged off tests against Bangladesh or Afghanistan or whatever, made some excuse why they can't play? It's like we don't want to bother playing them. But you've got, if these teams are ever going to get any better, they've got to play them.
I think Afghanistan are their only test now between now and the Ashes, aren't they?
Yes,
one-off test against
that's in
Afghanistan.
Tasmania. But I think they've put that off twice, and they've certainly put tests off against Bangladesh a couple of times. And they're scared. The thing is,
Bangladesh drew a series against them in 2017.
Well, this is my point. They're scared of going to Bangladesh because they'll probably get beaten because they'll turn some Bunsen burners, and the Australians are even worse than us. So it's like South Africa. You send them into those conditions. All Western nations really struggle over there. The same as much as the South Asian sides struggling against us. Big hoik. That's the right idea though by Dana. Could be out. No, he sliced it out towards third man. He hasn't got enough on it. And Darren Milan comes in. He'll get a single.
Yeah, I think if you just got teams like Australia and India when they come over here playing Ireland, and when we go to India we play Afghanistan, it will just help grow these teams. And as we've seen with Ireland, they can only get better. Bangladesh can only get better by playing these teams. I mean, it took India 20 years to kind of register their first test win. So it's only by playing the good teams that they can become a power.
I mean, you do have to have a bit of this is the thing, exactly that, and then you have to develop the people coming through, because you've seen with Sri Lanka, they had a great side. You had Jar Warden, Sangakkara, Murugaratne, Jaminda Vass, all these people who made their side great. Jawardner even going back to the World Cup and all that kind of stuff. And as they've slowly retired, because the forethought hasn't gone through to the end, there's that short by David Willey. Attempted to pull Dananjaya. It's been given as a wide, actually. And one for the over. As he attempted to pull it, and there's no run. You know, they haven't been replaced. Or if they have been replaced, they've been treated so badly and in and out of the side that they've got no confidence left. I mean, there are some good stroke players in Sri Lanka, no doubt about it. And there's some good bowlers. But you have to invest in the stock to be able to get anything out of it, and they have to be, you know, commensurately paid. They're, you know, okay, they might not get paid what they're getting paid here, but they have to be able to stop being buggered about so that they get a reasonable length contract so they can plan a life and all this kind of stuff. All these side issues are important.
Azizi says, your commentary is brilliant, fellas, keep it up. And then he says, should we reverse the batting order?
Well, you might give them a chance, but you know, you get the early wickets, you get the big boys in anyway. David Willey is in, it's down leg side. That should be a wide as well, unless it hits something. And I think Bairstow, yeah, he wasn't particularly good on that, and he got it into the belly. And it has been a wide. In fact, it's the second one, so I will actually give that a jingle. Dananjaya is going to face up Willey. He's in his last over. I don't know who gets bowled the last over. Probably Jordan, and he only bowled 2, didn't he, earlier on? So he just bowled his 3rd. Him and Willey will be closing out. Willey is into the attack now. Bowls guided by Dananjaya down towards 3rd man. Backward point comes across the field, and it'll just be 1 run.
I'm interested by Dananjaya being in at this point, because I don't really know him as a batsman, but when I looked at the team sheet, he's nominally down as the number 11.
Maybe he can slap a few. Someone has to. Mind you, I imagine they can all slap a few. And now that Woody's out of the way, mind you, Jordan can bowl high 80s. We don't like it up 'em. Most people don't. Willey is in. A big attempted hoik on the leg side by Udana. I think it might have been a slight slow ball, 75 miles an hour, running his fingers across the ball. Didn't pick it up at all, crashed into his pad, no run. Dot ball, 94%. I think they're going to get up to 100 here.
Wow. That would be shocking, wouldn't it?
They got over 100 yesterday, didn't they? It was 117 or something, wasn't it?
Was it 120 something? It's erased from my memory.
They've got 9 balls for 6 runs, which is outside of the pace they've had so far.
Well, indeed. Well, you're down to 10, isn't he? Slapped down to long off by Udana, get himself a single. And they move on to 95. He's shaking his head and muttering to himself. Jason says the Six Nations was mostly on free-to-air. England home games were on Sky and only highlights on free-to-air for 3 years. Splitting coverage between the BBC and ITV was as good as it forced both to up their game. But it's looking more like go behind a paywall for the next couple of years. I think it's just mad. You've got to get players in. That's driven up to mid. Well, actually, extra cover with Chris Jordan is fielding. He's the only man inside the ring on the offside, and will be just the 1 run. If these are your national sports, you have to give a little to get a little. If you want to keep people playing them and interested in them, they have to be visible. Because if they're not visible to the majority, people forget about them. Willey is full and outside off stump driven. Morgan's cover comes across the field as it's badly timed. They just get 1 run, 97 for 7, 1 over to go.
Satan by name says, I'm AKA Paul Marshall, by the way.
Paul Marshall.
Is he one of our tweeters? Possibly.
Possibly.
Could be. Navi popped up on YouTube earlier, by the way. Ravi
I saw Ravi popped up on YouTube.
Yeah. It was 129 for 7 yesterday.
Well, there you go. It's going to be worse than that. They're 97 for 7 with 1 over to go.
How long is the changeover?
10 minutes, I think. Tops.
Oh, cool.
I can put on Pakistan highlights for 10 minutes.
I can make a cup of tea.
Oh yeah, totally. I'm not gonna stop the stream and start again. It's only a T20. So will be live all the way through.
I imagine it'll be a couple of short balls, couple of Yorkers from Jordan here. Lots of variations. He's got men out deep, square on the square boundary, so he's probably going to dig it in short and then maybe go for the fuller one and slower one.
Indeed, Jordan. Well, it was a slower one. It's been heaved. Is it going to be a 6? Yeah. Oh, no.
No, it's just bounced short.
A yard inside the boundary. Finally.
100 up for Sri Lanka, though.
100 up for Sri Lanka with a 4. Way well done.
No, Dara Azizi is a Kent boy who lives in Arizona. He misses watching Gower play. I like Arizona.
Well, they're going to have a massive drought, aren't they? They're having the worst drought for 1,200 years or something is in the pipelines, or so the naysayers say. The Hoover Dam is down by 25 metres. Something stupid like that.
Isn't it?
Yeah, it all feeds into the same system, doesn't it? That's mistimed out to the offside by Dana. They don't even get a single.
I spent a couple of weeks in Tucson. It was great.
Arizona's next to Nevada, isn't it?
Yeah, it's all that sort of.
It's all fed by the Colorado, isn't it? The river. They reckon that whole southwest region of America.
Well, it's desert. There's a lot of desert there.
Well, exactly, and it's all been irrigated due to dams and hydropower and stuff. And they reckon that if the water level goes, they could all be in trouble. Mistimed up to long on. They're going to come back for 2. Good bit of running. They do make it back for 2. 3 for 7.
Well done, boys. Satan by name says maybe a 10-over beer match after we knock them off in 8 overs.
Fuck that.
I know if the Sri Lankans are up for beer. I don't know.
I imagine some of them are. There's quite nice Sri Lankan beers.
Oh, there are, isn't there? Yeah.
Get with your Sri Lankan
I don't know if
curries.
we'll go at 12 and over for those 8 overs. We might just take our time a little bit. Try and
I imagine they'll go off hard and heavy at the top and see what happens. When they have to lose a couple of wickets, they'll just cruise over the line. Well, there you go. Smashed. I don't know. The cameraman doesn't really know where it's gone.
Straight up.
It's gone straight up.
No,
It's gone straight over as well. It's a big,
wow.
long 6. Finally, someone's got hold of the ball. See, you should be doing this earlier. It's only
Proper cricket shot, that big lofted drive.
Absolutely. It's only the second one of the over, isn't it? Second one of the match. It was a full ball right up in the slot. It's gone out the ground. That's a bloody great shot. It's gone over the stands.
I thought we'd gone straight up in the air.
Yeah, what I thought it did, the cameraman did as well, I think. And Chris Jordan looks grumpy.
Brian Barish says, I've only been to Arizona twice, both to the airport. Both times the temp was 115 degrees Fahrenheit. There was recently a US-Aussie rules game there, and it started at 7 a.m. so that both teams could avoid the oppressive June heat. Yeah, it was warm when I was there.
150 is a bit too much, man.
115.
Oh, right.
That's still warm.
That's bloody warm, yeah.
When did they play Aussie rules in the US?
Brian, our fan here, Brian's a commentator on it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Can't imagine Americans getting into it.
Well, I can. It's violent, you know.
Yeah, but there's no padding. They wouldn't like it.
Well, that's true. Jordan is in. Bowls at short this time. Dana tries to get inside and ramp it over the keeper, but he can't, and there is no run. He's got 17 or 13. I think he's the only man in the entire Sri Lankan side who's got a strike rate over 100 in the entire innings, thanks to a 6 and a 4. But it shouldn't be down to your number 6, 7, 8 to be forcing this issue. And 109 for 7 is just not enough. 1 ball left in the innings.
What's Morgan yabbering about? I mean, they're on 109. They've got 1 ball left.
There's not really much to talk about, is there? Let's just go out and get this.
Really.
I mean, it's less.
He's committed, isn't he?
I mean, it's just marginally over 5 and over, for crying out loud. That one's gone straight up. Has it gone? It's bloody high. Cameraman's got it. I'm not sure it's got the legs on it. Is it going to be out? No, it's not going to be caught. 3 men converging, but Chris Jordan already called for it, and he was the bowler. He wanted to caught and bowled. The other 2 men just sort of stood and watched, and it plugged in the ground. He has a little smile. I think they probably got back for 2 while that was in the air. And they did indeed. And they end up on 111 for 7, Sri Lanka. Really quite a poor innings. I'll give you the stats. I'll run you down the scorecard. Sri Lanka chose to bat. Gunathanaika was out for 3 or 4 balls, run out. Stupidly dropped it in front of his feet, got beaten in a run race as Fernando dropped it down, and Gunathanaika couldn't make it, and Sam Curran side-footed it into the stumps. Finally, actually, someone hit the stumps doing that, and he was run out by quite a way. He was gone for 3. Avishka Fernando was caught Livingston in deep, bowled Curran, trying to pull one out of the ground for 6 off 10. Kusal Pereira and Kusal Mendes, the two Kusals had a little bit of a partnership, but it wasn't particularly quick. Pereira caught Morgan, bowled Rashid for 21 off 25, and Mendes was caught behind another one trying to smash it up in the air, went a long way up in the air, and Bairstow chased it out to the deep. Bowled Woody a short one, 39 off 39, so he at least did have a strike over 100, which isn't even that great in a T20. Dick Weller lasted 3 balls, was caught Morgan, trying to turn one to the leg side, got an outside edge, caught in the covers for 3 off 3. Dasan Shanaka caught Willie, bowled Jordan for 8 off 14. Wanindu Hasaranga was stumped. Bairstow came down the track to Adil Rashid, missed it completely for 3 off 7. Asuru Udana was not out, 19 off 14, best strike rate in the entire bloody team. And Akelia Dhananjaya was not out, 2 off 4, leading to a score of 111 off 17. Should be really easy for England. It shouldn't go too deep into the evening. David Willey, 4 overs, no maidens, none for 17. Sam Curran, 2 overs, no maidens, 1 for 8. Chris Jordan, 4 overs, no maidens, 1 for 31. Liam Livingston, 2 overs, no maidens, none for 10. Mark Wood, 4 overs, no maidens, 2 for 18. And Adil Rashid, 4 overs, no maidens, 2 for 24. That sums it up. That's pretty shit, wasn't it? Right, let's go to some highlights, and we'll be back in about 5-10 minutes. We'll see you as soon as it comes back. See you shortly, Jacob.
See you back.
From the stumps and you're aiming, then yes, you should hit. But if you're talking about throws that have come in from the outfield, I mean, there was one from Johnny Bairstow that nearly hit, and that was from deep backward square. You don't expect to hit from deep backward square.
Gary never missed from deep backward square. Never dropped a catch either.
It would take me 3 throws to get the ball in from deep backward square. This ball is full from Archer, and Hassan Ali shovels it into the leg side, and they're through for 2, and Joss Butler takes off the bails, but the dive saw Hassan home.
Craig Johnson gives us some exceptional circumstances for the over 8. Numerous streakers, unlimited DRS reviews, running out of balls, bats breaking every shot, Stokes getting in a fight. The possibilities are endless.
That's true. I mean, those all should be written into the laws, obviously.
Captain leaving the field to attend the performance of Anything Goes.
Well, it probably would have under David
flying
Gower.
flying over the ground in a tiger moth.
Very full again from Archer. Slower ball, and it's just pushed by Hassan Ali into the offside, and he scampers a single.
Do you have any inside knowledge, Gary, on Owen Morgan's theatrical habits?
No.
You don't know what he likes? Is he a musical man, or is he
never dance?
Adaptation of the Dubliners, I think.
So
Pakistan 330 for 7. Messages is 345 on our non. Is the GPL not open?
It is open, but we haven't been pushing it until now.
This ball is outside off stump. Shoaib essays a cut, but unlike his colleague Barber, he's not so good at cutting, and there is no run.
Alex Green, back on this Elton John business in Grimsby, says old Elton John sang it. He was able to do it without descending into a fit of laughter. Taupin even wrote Saturday Night's All Right for Fighting about my old school and its rivalry with those blazer-wearing bastards down the road. I'm not sure what he's talking about.
I don't know, but it's fun.
This ball is cut sort of half-heartedly, really, by Shoaib. It goes down to third man, where Adil Rashid tossed himself a leg break from right hand to left hand before returning it, perhaps not voluntarily. 331 for 7.
Linux Lear says, yes, Pakistan's running between the wickets has fallen a long way from the lofty heights it reached during the Inzi heyday.
As this ball is outside off stump, quite quick from Archer, and no bat could be laid upon it. So just 4 from the 5 balls of this over. This is the difficulty you get into when you've got lower order batsmen at the crease when the charge is on.
Yeah, Archer's taken a bit more punishment than he has in the past. You know, that's going to happen from time to time, isn't it? None for 73 with 1 ball of his 10 overs left.
Yeah, it looks like he's had an absolute mare, but he hasn't really. He bowled beautifully with the new ball. And he's back in again. This is a slower ball outside off stump, and Hassan Ali was given room to free his arms, and that's exactly what he did, and hit it miles.
2, 4, 6.
And when we've been complaining about Sarfraz was trying to play that shot over and over again, hit the ball with a flattish bat for 6, and just couldn't do it.
No.
And Hassan Ali at number 10, I think, is it 9? 9. Comes in and immediately connects with one that went about 10 rows back.
Well, there's a freedom about Hassan Ali coming in. I mean, he is quite a big hitter anyway. But for Sarfraz, he's got a lot on his plate. You know, he's got all the criticism that's gone with it. I just imagine he was tensing up a lot.
But don't bat at 5.
Well, I don't think you'd put Hassan Ali in at 5. I mean, it's just
it's an imbalance in the side. If Sarfraz is batting at 5, you should be looking at your balance of batting.
Well, I agree with
Shoaib. Certainly would be a better candidate at 5. But
I
you can see why
so.
The data shows otherwise. But the data should also be showing that you chew up an awful lot of deliveries with mistimed strokes.
Yeah, that said, he went at well over a run of ball in the end, and was pretty much up there the whole time. It just was a pretty difficult innings to watch in a way.
Yeah, and he's gone at a run of ball, or just over a run of ball, where his team are going at 7 runs and over, or they will do. And this is the last over, and this is a
Get
huge
Wokes underneath it.
top edge off Chris Wokes, and it's the captain who comes in from extra cover. Wokes, having 4 catches now, allows EOI and Morgan to catch that one from Shoaib. But you see, that's a bit of a wasted wicket for me. Shoaib had to really play that shot, but he's a better batsman than that. And had he come in at 5, you know, he might have got 50 off 40 deliveries. And Pakistan in danger of not using up their full allocation of 50 overs here, which is always an unforgivable act in a one-day game.
I think they probably will.
I think they'll just about get there yet.
Well, 49.1 overs gone, 337 for 8. Shadab comes to the crease.
Shut up.
Which is basically the
What's
jingle.
the
So
matter,
there's no point in doing the jingle now, is there?
Here's Wokes in, and he hits Hassan Ali on the helmet. He may look like an angelic choir boy, but that was a pretty nasty delivery there from Chris Wokes. We can hear the President of the United States tweeting that it was a nasty delivery.
Do you mean it was this man that's come to the crease?
Top edge.
Oh, the wrong one.
I said I'll just go smack. She said, shut up, Gonzalez. This bull is not
What's the matter, you?
Yeah, Hassan Ali, he's got the neck shot.
Enough of that.
This ball is top edge, and there's never a fielder right behind the keeper. So short ball from Woke. Shadab flung his bat at it, got a top edge, went all the way to the fence. 342 for 8.
4.
Yeah, that was quite a nasty bouncer because it did hit the back of the head of Hassan Ali, but he does have the neck guard on. You can see the value of it.
Well, he top edged that previous.
Yeah, he did, and that's the one that causes you difficulty because it goes up and under the helmet.
Yeah.
So 3 balls left in this innings. Chris Wokes, slower ball, half volley, clears the front leg, does Shadab, but he can only lever it, if that makes sense, to mid on. And this brilliant fielding effort from England continues, Hendo, with some overthrows.
That wasn't very good, but I mean, I don't think it's been. I don't think it's been absolutely appalling. It's maybe not been. It's not been as top notch as they can be. That said,
it's not been world ranked number 1.
Wokes has taken at least 2 exceptionally good catches. And there have been a couple of high ones that have been taken now. Morgan and Root have taken them. There's only one that's actually gone down.
It was Jason Roy, who has had a bad day in the field. It was him throwing the ball. Good Yorker from Wokes. I think all we talk about Yorkers, and I do take some of those points there, I don't think number 9 and 10 are going to be able to get the kind of leverage off a Yorker that are...
What? We're back. That was quick, eh? Put out of our misery early enough. Hello, boys.
Hello.
Who's supposed to be on? It's supposed to be
I believe I'm on ball by ball.
With me and it's the same team as before, actually, isn't it?
Yep.
Me and you are swapping places again, Jacob. Jason, you're not supposed to be here.
Oh, I shall.
We'll see you shortly. How many overs?
Oh, that's a question, isn't it? 12-ish, maybe 15.
15.
At the outstretch.
I was going to go for 14, but yeah.
Well, if they go all out from the top, and I'm going to fall of the first wicket to be over. If they don't lose a wicket, I reckon I'll do it in 10 or 11.
So while we've got time, should we jingle up Johnny Bairstow and Jason Roy as well?
Yeah, we can do that.
May be?
We can do that. We have Jason Roy.
Duckworth Lewis loves you. The clouds part for you. Nothing stands in your way when you're a Roy.
Johnny Bairstow.
Johnny Bairstow's smarter than the average Bairstow. Johnny Bairstow's been this good since daycare, so all put on your wigs and let the crimson hand blow. I want the Pope to give him his own large prayer. Oh, he can end the sicknesses.
And it will be Dushmanta Chimera to bowl the first over as he's into Roy, who steps across the stumps and is beaten on the outside edge by one that zipped through off a length. Dushmanta Chimera can put a bit of pace in it.
Yeah, he's not that slow. He can generate a little bit. It'll be interesting. There's not enough runs really to play with. He's bowling.
Oh, my old man Dushmanta, he wears a Sri Lankan cap. He bowls it nice and quick, though his radar can be crap.
I like that.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Quality jingles. That's what you get.
Runs at the full wicket. Full of the first wicket. Over 27.5. I'm going to go for that. Sod it.
As Chimera is in again to Roy with the slip in, who drives firmly but only as far as the man at mid-off. The full face of the bat there from Jason Roy. That's not something you see often from him, especially not in the Ashes series, but never mind.
Yeah,
we've forgotten, if not forgiven.
Yes, exactly. Whoever thought he was... Well, Ed Smith clearly thought he was a test player for some reason. I don't know where the hell he got that idea from.
Yeah, I mean, being thrown in against Pat Cummins and the like is not the easiest, but even against Ireland he was struggling and he got squared up awfully.
Exactly. He managed to get a 50 in that game, though, didn't he? In the second innings, somehow really scratchy 50.
As Chimera comes in, and Jason Roy has a big flap at that outside the off stump, but manages not to get an edge on that. Yeah, that's 88 miles an hour from Chimera. He's certainly not slow. Haven't had a look at the field yet, but with the power play in, there's only 2 outside the ring, I believe.
2 outside the ring. I was going to ask Jason how has Roy been doing for... well, you're a county man. Do you follow the Blast?
I don't follow the Blast at all. I follow a county championship. I really can't be interested with the T20 stuff, despite being here commentating.
Yes, well, I mean, you're no different to a lot of us. Got to do the international step.
As Chimera is in again to Roy, who that time has a heave across the line and manages to sort of streakily play it away into the leg side, and they'll just get the one from that. They'll get Roy off the mark after 3 balls and bring Johnny Bairstow on strike.
Does Roy play county cricket anymore, or is he just literally a white ball player? Does he play?
I'm not sure, to be honest. I think he specialises pretty heavily in the white ball. I don't remember seeing his name on a scorecard this year when I've
Well, I was just thinking that when people have been talking about sorry, I heard his name mentioned. Could have been just doing really poorly. But I mean, it's
I don't think he plays red ball for Surrey because they've got Burns and Stoneman opening for them. As Chimera is in to Bairstow, jogging languidly in, and Bairstow has again had a flap at that outside the off stump. It's reared up off a length, beaten the top edge, and gone through to Niroshan Dickwella as he thuds into his gloves, which promptly cannon towards his face, and he does well to get his head out of the way. But yeah, that's really let tough. There's some inconsistent pace, some inconsistent bounce in this pitch, and we thought it might be a bit too paced, and it might have just quickened up for the English batsmen coming onto the bat nicely, and they might be able to get a few away.
Well,
we might be 2 down at the moment.
New ball, isn't it?
Yeah, there is a little bit of movement out there for Chimera, primarily away movement, as again that beats the outside edge of Bairstow, who manages to contain his straining wild hands from getting too far away from his body and pulls them back in just in the right time to not get a nick on that. But Dushmanta Chamira there bowling an excellent over, going for only 1, and I think he's beaten the outside edge 4 times in that over of 6 balls, maybe 5.
Spangley Sai says he was watching Sky, and they have have they just spent a minute showing Bumble and Co kicking a cricket ball to each other?
They weren't kicking a cricket ball. They were kicking a Satsuma.
Oh god!
A Satsuma even better than kicking a cricket ball, as Binura Fernando starts his walking out his run up. Do we have a jingle for him?
We probably do.
He's only played 3 matches, the left arm medium fast bowler.
Binura, yeah, we do have a jingle for him. Sounds like this.
It's got to be ABBA.
Hi, Benura. Why, Benura?
Not someone I've seen a lot of, Benura Fernando, but he's got a decent average after his sole 3 T20 matches internationally, as he comes into Jason Roy, who tucks that off his hip, and there will be a quick single. They're thinking about 2, but Bairstow has very rightly been sent back by Jason Roy. There was never a 2 there. But Bairstow is famously quick between the wickets. Roy a little more cumbersome, but can hold his end up.
Yeah, I think there was a vacant mid-wicket, and no one seemed to be closing the ball down. If they had set off like they wanted to, they might have possibly given a 2, because the bowler was slow to get after the ball as well.
Yeah, I think someone just about had a hand to it by the time Johnny Bairstow had turned round, and Jason Roy very, very forcefully said, no, I'll be having none of that. I've had enough run-outs for my career, thank you very much.
Not sure I like this England kit, by the way.
No, I don't like it.
It's a new one, isn't it?
I like the Sri Lankan kit, but just take all the advertising off it.
Wow.
As the other Fernando is into Jason Bairstow, and he's bowled him for a duck. He's gone straight through the middle there. Johnny Bairstow, huge gap between bat and pad as he has a heave across the line, and he's taken middle and leg, and they've splintered them out the ground. That is a poor start for England. Bairstow back to his old tricks, getting bowled through the gate, and that is a big wicket for Sri Lanka. Bairstow, the danger man, and he nips back and takes his middle pole.
Well, it did shake back in a little bit.
He gets done a lot like that, though. Bairstow,
yeah, he does get a lot like that. I mean, a lot of batsmen get done like that, to be fair, when the ball is swinging. But you're right. Bairstow does play sort of a little bit roundy, trying to hit everything through the leg side, and leaves a massive great gate, and he's been bowled through it.
He has missed that by an absolute mile, and England are now 2 for 1.
Satan by name says if Roy gets going, it'll be over in 10. Well, it won't be over in 10 if Bairstow gets going, because he didn't.
But that brings this man to the crease.
Yes. This man is... got to find
averaging
him first.
48, as we just said.
Well, yeah, he had a little cracking golden spell, didn't he? It just takes a little while to get going.
Next generation David.
That's not my name. That's not my name. That's not my name. That's not my name.
As Benura Fernando into Milan, who leaves outside the off stump, which is not a shot you see played often in the T20 format, but maybe just a little sighted there for Milan. As we see the wicket of Bairstow again, he's played that completely all around that and tried to hike it over to cow corner. I mean, it's nipped a little bit off the pitch, but it's a big old gap he's left there.
Yeah, it's a big old gap. I mean, it has, as you say, it's come back into him a little bit in the air and off the seam. And he's just trying to sweep the line over the onside, but he's got the wrong line, mate. And his poles have been knocked back. Darren Milan, well, I mean, this is the thing. You got a target. Run rate is under 6, really. You've got plenty of time to see yourself in.
He's averaging double what Jason Roy is. Jason Roy, a famously destructive batsman, so even though he's been in a bit of a fallow period recently, as Fernando is again into Milan, left-hander to left-hander, and that one's kept low from Fernando, and Milan's had a bit of a flap at it. Niroshan Dickwella looked as surprised as anyone. I think that's popped off of his gloves and hit him in the chest or in the face or something.
Something
but
like
it's kept
that.
pretty low.
Yeah, it has indeed. Here's a question: is this the same wicket as we played on yesterday? Or is it a new one?
It is the same pitch, I believe. So
Ah,
it might
right,
just
okay.
start to get a bit. We've seen some steep bounce from the other end. It might just start to break
a
up
little.
a little, wear a little, especially with the Sri Lankan spinners. They could be in business here. As Fernando is into Milan, jumps wide of the crease, and that's cut away in the air by Milan. And I think will trickle away. No, yes it has. A diving attempt, I believe, by Asifa Fernando out there, if that is him. But not it, but in vain, and it's gone for 4. David Milan gets off the mark.
It's a really slow outfield, isn't it? It should have raced away.
It can't have been Asifa Fernando. I've just checked the team list, and he's not playing. But it was.
A Fernando.
I know. I don't even think it was a Fernando. He just looks slightly familiar to me. As
It was Giroud, wasn't it?
Oh, it's by Nando. We just played his jingle. Still in the first, second over, isn't it?
Fernando is in, and that's defended into the ground by Milan, and that will be the end of the second over. England 6 for 1.
Our very own Jason Hiscox has tweeted in. Things you do expect to hear on GC commentary number 34, and Bairstow is bowled, leaving a gap so wide between bat and pad you could drive a bus through it.
Yeah, well.
Well, we saw it a few times across his career. He was an absolute world-class keeper batsman in Test cricket until they messed him around with the selection, and he's still a very good white ball player, almost a white ball specialist now, if anything. But
he was never a very good keeper, though. He's never been a very good keeper.
Statistically, I think he was pretty good actually.
No.
He didn't drop all that many. I think if you look at the figures on him, he's actually done pretty well. As Chamira comes in to Roy, and Roy's had a big swipe at that. I think they're appealing behind the stumps, but Roy shakes his head, and so does the umpire. Luckily for him, it doesn't really matter if Roy shakes his head. It matters what the umpire at the other end says. But Dick Weller was interested for a little bit as Roy had a big attempt at a cut from a short ball, but it seems to have just missed the top edge of his bat and flown through to the keeper.
It's leapt off a length, hasn't it?
Yeah.
A lot of steep bounce here from Chamira, who is bowling relatively quickly, but I think you were right here, Bear. The pitch is starting to do a little bit of its magic.
Yeah,
it's been a bit naughty.
I think it will quieten down when the ball gets a little older, which doesn't
Yeah,
take
nice
long. It doesn't take long with a
ball.
white ball in T20s. It's about 4 overs.
Tim Mike Yates is calling Bairstow the Yorkshire Brandenburg.
Ah. Well, but it was interesting that people were calling for him in that last Test series. I was like, really, you want to,
As Roy walks across the stumps and tucks it into the leg side for a single off the bowling of Chamira, who has only gone now for 2 runs off his 1.2 overs, bowling very economically, beating the outside edge a lot, and some steep bounce from him from this end. We saw from Fernando at the other end a ball keep low, and I think the English batsmen may be in for a little more than they bargained for here.
They've got plenty of time and a really small target. I think they'll. I mean, this is it. You just get over the line in this one.
Yeah, but it's good to see Sri Lanka playing with a bit of vim.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the bowlers have got something to prove.
Yeah.
As Chamira runs in again, this time to Milan, that one's gone down the leg side, and I think that's been signalled by umpire Alex Wolff as a wide.
It has indeed.
Wide.
I wonder if it's one of those pitches, if you give yourself enough time to get in, mind you, the Kusels didn't manage, even though they faced a lot of balls. You do get some timing.
Yeah, we saw a couple at the end from Jordan and Wood start to leap a bit as well.
Yeah.
As Chamira is in again, repeating the ball to Willie and Milan even, and that's on the pads and not out, says umpire Alex Wolff, I believe that is. It was probably just swinging down the leg side, but it was hitting pretty full on the pad.
It was. I probably think it pitched outside leg as well. Might as well review it though.
Well, there's 1 second left, and they've decided against it. They're not going to review. As you say, they're probably pitching outside leg and maybe just sneaking down the leg side as well, as it seemed to shape back into Dawid Malan. Let's have a look at this, shall we? Well, that might have just pitched in line. Oh, I don't know if that would have been
It's tricky, isn't it? Actually, it might be a better shout than they thought, actually.
I think they have reviewed it, actually, because the third umpire is looking at it.
Oh, okay. That looks like there's a little bit of inside edge there as well.
Well, we're just checking the ultra edge now. There is no edge. They have reviewed it sneakily off camera. The Sri Lankans have decided to review. There is a spike before it hits the pad on the ultra edge. It has pitched in line. It has impacted in line, and it's going on to hit leg stump. That is gone. David Malan gone for 4. Excellent review there from the Sri Lankans, and Dushmanta Chamira has his first wicket in this game.
And that is a very, very good review.
Yeah.
Well, having chided Sri Lanka, we should now chide England. This is shit.
England's golden boy, David Malan, who is the talisman of their T20 success, has gone. For 4.
Ravi Nair is getting trolled on YouTube by Not Fred Titmus. Brian Barrish says this is the sort of T20 game you'd figure will be done in 10 overs, but will be left till the last over. Oh T20, you're so crazy. And Legacy AD Brian 15 hates to see a Bairstow duck. Any thoughts? Well, yeah, but you know, we've seen it a lot in playing that kind of shot, haven't we?
As England's captain, Owen Morgan, comes to the cricket.
He's got the power to hit every ball for a 6. Come on, it's Owen bloody Morgan. He can do it all day with his man. He does play. You know, it's Owen bloody Morgan.
As we said, Owen Morgan hasn't been any good form recently at all, has he?
As Chamira comes into Morgan, who runs one down to third man, and that will be a single. David Malan, the man who's just gone, has also been touted as a potential Ashes bolter for England, hasn't he? Coming in potentially at number 3 if Zach Crawley loses his place.
Well, he has. He batted all right actually in Australia last time. He's probably the best batsman actually. I think he came out with the best stats from the series. Obviously he likes playing off the back foot, likes it coming onto the bat a bit more, although having said that, with a drop in pitches it's not particularly pacey, but they've got pace bowlers, and it's often the fact that you're playing off the back foot, he seems to like that.
As Chamira bowls to Roy outside the off stump, and that's run into the offside, and they'll sneak through for a single, as the ball is slightly overthrown at the stumps but is backed up well, and that brings Morgan back on strike as Roy moves to 4 from 8, Morgan 1 off 1, and England 10 for 2 in this pursuit of 112, and maybe we were a little harsh on Sri Lanka there.
Maybe we were, we shall see. I mean, you can always lose 2 wickets in a T20. It's not an awful long way to go. Darren Malan got 199 in a county game, didn't he, recently as well?
He did a couple of weeks ago. As Chamira is in over the wicket to the left-handed, Morgan outside the off-stump, and that's fiddled at by Morgan. There's an appeal from the slip, but from no one else. 90 miles an hour from Dushmanta Chamira, beating the outside edge of Morgan and going through Niroshan Dickwella. That's the end of the over, and 10 for 2 has been moved to Nestlers on the social.
Ravi Nair says it would be fun if England lost this one, though. Slayton by name says down to Chesty Morgan to give it a biff. And Jonathan Shawland says this T20 is on TV in New Zealand, so I have turned the volume off and put Guerrilla Cricket on instead. Jonathan, you're a very, very wise man.
Absolutely, indeed.
Very wise indeed.
Who have you got commentating on down in New Zealand? Do you get the British commentary, or do you have a couple of Kiwis going? Meh, 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 meh? Well, not quite like that, obviously.
Why would they go like that?
Well, I don't know. Just Kiwis commentating on English T20.
Obviously. According to Bear, as Benura Fernando comes back on.
I meant just spouting shit.
Fernando is in over the wicket to Roy, who pushes this one into the offside, and there will be no run. Morgan sent scampering back to the non-striker then, and it's gone straight to the man at point. Decent start here, a very good start in fact from Sri Lanka, more than they would have ever hoped for, you'd have thought, with the left armer now coming into Roy. He's probably the one they want to get gone now, this pairing, and then there's a bit of batting to come, but not the usual Ben Stokesian fireworks, as Fernando's into Roy, and that's on the pads and tucked back to the bowler, and there will be no run.
That's a pretty ugly shot. He was trying to work it into the leg side and got completely squared up. Yeah, it's interesting. Got no Ben Stokes.
No Butler.
No Butler, obviously. I mean, I still think that Root's got a role to play on the T20 side. He can hit it 360, and so he might not hit sixes, but he, generally he scores a decent lick. And he's a man you can build an innings around while still going along at sort of 100, 120.
As Fernando is into Roy, who swats this into the leg side. Short ball pulled onto the front foot, and it will go straight to the man, though, and there will just be the single. Yeah, I as a Test purist, though, I worry about that, and I feel as the Test captain, Root should be moving further away from the white ball setup, not closer towards it, even if he is one of our best batsmen.
Apart from, Test purists, I think for openers only, really. I'm not fully in on this. I mean, there are people who choose to play white ball.
As Morgan leaves the bowling of Fernando outside the off stump.
But professional batsmen of any worth, I mean, I bet Dom Sibley can smash it out of the park if you really want him to. I bet he's got an idea of how to do it, and he's got a plan. You're not really the quickest, but I bet you won't be the worst either, And someone like
Is it more of a mindset than technique?
I mean, there'll be technique and there'll be things you can practice, but I think if you're good enough, you can put them into, you can pigeonhole them for the situation you're in, I should think.
As Morgan drives Fernando off a length on the up, and it's gone between the two fielders who are sprinting after it. England coming back for the second, and they may even got three here. They've just got the two, as Morgan moves to 3 from 4, and Benura Fernando has 1 ball left of his over.
That's a really nice shot. Picked the gap quite nicely. It's quite packed offside field, and hit it right between the gap. That's Tom Moody. It's Tom Moody. He is in the setup for Sri Lanka, isn't it? I mean, they've got quite a good setup there with Mickey Arthur and Tom Moody. Quite respectable, regarded coaches.
And Mickey Arthur's shorts, who have their own coaching role, I believe. As Morgan again drives attractively. That's a proper cricket shot. That is off the front foot, driving on the up, and Morgan will get that one away for through the cover.
It's me, says she. It's me, says she.
Warren likes my Kiwi. Said that I sound like the Clangers. Pirate Badshaw says, famously, Kiwi colloquial English was the inspiration for the Simlish language in The Sims, maybe. Well, I don't think the bear was entirely accurate with his
no, of course not.
Kiwi language. Jonathan Shortland tells us that the coverage we get in New Zealand, I turned the sound on and heard Nasser Hussain.
Okay,
so
they got
turn the volume. Turn the volume off again. Yeah, so it's a Sky feed, isn't it, I suppose?
Yep.
Jamira now coming back on for his 3rd over. They might just save him 1 for the death, I reckon.
Don't know if it's worth it, really, is it?
Well, yeah, 1 for the middle overs, maybe. As Shamira comes into Roy, who swats this one wide outside the off stump through the sort of cover region. He's cut that in front of square through just the covers, and I think that's just going to run away for 4. Yes, it has. It hits the fence, and it's run away for 4.
1, 2, 3, 4.
I've seen Roy play a lot of shots on one leg.
Yeah,
he's playing a lot more of this shot now, just walking down the wicket and cutting and pulling off the front foot off one leg.
Yeah.
It's his power game, isn't it?
Yeah,
Ravi Nair says, my meltdown heartens all of us. I had a meltdown?
As Dushmanta Chamira is back in against Jason Roy, and that's flipped down to the sort of 3rd man region, 3rd man running round, and it may just be the 2 for England. Yes, it will just be 2, as Jason Roy now moves into double figures, the first English batsman to do so, and he moves to 11. Woohoo!
Yeah, starting to get a little bit of rhythm on the pitch. Both of them having struck 4 each will make them feel better. Jason Roy, I mean, he's just a bully, basically. And he gets away with it. It's quite spectacular to watch.
Yeah, he likes to hit aggressively, come at the bowler, hit it very, very hard. Strong bottom hand grip, which probably is what disabled him in Test cricket. He was just too bottom hand focused.
Oh, he's another one with a massive gap. He's just set up to hit the ball, not necessarily to defend.
As Dushmanto Chameera jogs in against Jason Roy. That's a full ball on off stump, not quite the Yorker length, it's just in the slot, and Roy has clipped that into leg side, but a diving stop at mid-on by Kusal Pereira has done... No, yes, Kusal Pereira indeed. He's done well there, and Jason Roy just flat batted that to mid-on, and Pereira has dived well and stopped it, just one for England.
Nice timing by Roy.
Yeah, he's timed it actually very well. It's come straight out the middle of the bat, clipped into the leg side as Chameera is in over the wicket to the left-handed Morgan, who plays it back down the pitch, and there'll be no run. Rearing up on Morgan off the length, and you just have to play that into the ground.
Yeah, this outfield is very slow, isn't it?
Yeah, it is a bit. Dushmanto Chameera as well. He's not got a steaming run-up, but he can bowl quite quickly.
Yeah,
he jogs in.
Yeah, he's got a whippy action.
Yeah, almost sort of like, dare I make the comparison, Jofra Archer. He seems to just kind of jog in,
breeze in.
Yeah, although Archer actually does, when they measured it, he actually does run in the quickest of any of the England bowlers, bar Mark Wood, perhaps, I think.
And he's got a really flexy arm, hasn't it? That's caused this problem.
Yeah, as Chameera comes in, that's on the legs of Morgan, and it's given as a wide. Niroshan Dickwella threw it in the air jubilantly, thinking that he'd caught Morgan, but I think it's just come off the pads.
Well, if it's come off the pads, it shouldn't be a wide either, but to be fair.
Dickwella is absolutely certain here. He's asking... I think he's asking Pereira to review this, but the Sri Lankan captain doesn't seem at all interested, unless that's Kusal Mendes I'm talking about. No, Kusal Pereira is the captain. Slid down the leg side. It might just have come off his back heel, actually. Been given as a wide, and Dickwella clearly heard a noise. He's thrown the ball up in celebration, not even bothering to appeal, really, and now, yeah, nothing. As that's full from Chameera and slapped by Morgan, and this will go away for 4.
That is good timing. It's burst through the fielder, who did get some contact on it, but crikey, that one still raced away to the boundary.
Yeah. 2 + 2 is a man.
Do we know what the capacity is here? Is it a test event?
No, I don't think it is. As you're right, I think that has burst through the fielder. Was that was along the ground, wasn't it?
It was along the ground.
They're having a look at this down the leg side.
Missed the bat.
Definitely no edge on it. It's off the pad, actually, off the front pad. Flicked the front pad. So, as you say, possibly shouldn't have been given as a wide.
Shouldn't have been given as a wide.
The last ball of the 5th over, and that's cut it by Morgan into the offside, but no real timing on it. It trickles to the man at point, and there will be no run, as that's the end of the over now.
Yeah, Satan by name says I'm in Germany, no chance of watching it on the TV here. Rabinair says the blooming scorecard is actually working, Bear, you Bill-Oddy beauty. And Satan by name asks, any news on the Ollie Robinson inquiry? No, it's all gone a bit quiet, isn't it?
No, he'll just be back in the test side for,
Yeah, they'll come out with some.
They'll come out with something, and I mean, it'll be nearly 2 months by the time they get round to the India test, first test.
Kick it into the long grass.
That whole thing was a bit.
England marginally ahead now. They're 8 runs ahead of where Sri Lanka were after 5 overs. If you're just joining us, England in pursuit of a fairly paltry, or we thought paltry, 112, and now 29 for 2 after 5 overs. Sri Lanka were 21 for 2, and this man, Asura Udana, has come on to bowl.
But the thing is, they've actually managed to hit some boundaries and find the boundary and find the gaps.
As the left armer Udana is into Roy, who pats this into the leg side, and there'll be a single there for Roy as we jingle up Udana.
He was selected on a Monday and my heart nearly quit. You done, I say, you done, a bowler who could also bat a bit. You done, I say, you done, yeah, so this jingle's shit, but the other jinglers quit. It was knocked up way too quick. You done, I say you done.
Quality.
Left arm pacer, experienced left arm pacer Asuru Udana over the wicket to the left-handed Morgan, who's cut that straight to backward point, and it's gone.
Oh
First
dear,
ball
oh
he's
dear.
faced off Udana. It's a pretty soft dismissal. He's cut it in the air, and it's gone straight to the outstretched hand of backward point England. 30 for 3, with Owen Morgan now gone.
He hit that quite sweetly, but straight at the fielder. Twat. Well, we
So-
could have we might have underestimated Sri Lanka here. England
As
may be
Owen
just a
Morgan
shit.
departs us for 11, and England are 30 for 3 in pursuit of 112. This is a dangerous position for England. Jason Roy still holding on, as we see Chris Silverwood in the crowd. Head coach come all-powerful national selector. I wonder if he'll be answering some questions after this match as he was after the Test series.
I thought he was off for this series, or was it just the last match? I thought he was having a break at some point, and thought he was going
I
to
think
take
for
over.
the ODI part and
Oh,
then
right,
the
okay.
Pakistan series maybe.
Mogger's joined us. He says the collapse is on.
Yeah, I bet you're happy.
Hey!
Amen. Oh
And
my word!
Sam Billings comes to the crease.
At number 5,
Kent wicket-keeper batsman.
he's a good little batsman. I like Sam Billings.
Stroking the ball through the covers, pinging it deep through backward. Billings is softly scoring runs. Billings is softly hitting long, laying his own shots undeterred. Billings is softly scoring runs.
Oh, that's beautiful, that is. As Udana is into Billings for his first ball, and he leaves it outside the off stump. Very Test match cricket there, as Udana swings one away from left arm over the wicket, away from the right-handed Billings, and he just left that outside his off stump. As we see the Morgan dismissal again, pretty soft, slapping it to Wanindu Hasparanga at backward point. He's come off the middle of the bat, but straight into the hands of the fielder. He barely had to move.
Yeah, he timed it nicely, as I said, but straight at the fielder.
As Udana now 1 for 1 off 0.3 overs as he comes in to the right-handed Billings. That one swung in. Oh, inside edge, past the leg stump. He's cut that back towards fine leg sort of area. It's been recovered, and there'll be no run. But that was pretty close to leg stump, actually.
Yeah, it wasn't
on a
that
roll
bad.
there.
I'm just looking at the odds on the match winner here. England should be massive favourites still, I imagine. Yeah, still only 1 to 9, which is really shit.
Good bowling from Udana though. He's kept it relatively full to Billings. He's swung one away and now he's nipped one back in to the right-hander, trying to bairstow him through the gate. As he's in again to Billings. This one a little straighter, more across Billings, who's defended that into the offside, and there'll be no run.
I think Billings would have been a better bet than Bracey, to be honest. In that
I
last,
don't know. I think it was harsh on Bracey.
he looks completely out of his depth, man.
And he's not the third best keeper in county cricket.
No.
He's the 5th, 6th or 7th. But they were keen to get him in batting. He's usually a top 3 batsman, and he just got shunted to number 7.
Yeah, but it should be easier about number 7 than it is at number 3.
Although the ball was swinging for 70 overs with the best team in the world, so you can hardly blame him as Udana comes in and Billings defend this backwards of square into the offside, and they scamper through for a single as the throw goes well awry of the stump. And that's the end of a very successful over from Udana. 1 for 2, England 30 for 3 in the power play. Not a good look for England.
No.
Spangly Sai says it is traditional at this point for a chorus of doomed, and Legacy AD Brian 15 says England trying to make a game of this thing. And Warren just says following the World Test Championship final, T20 proper shite.
Yeah, yeah. I'm sorry, I don't buy that shit about Bracey. You play in the English League where Dobbs seems about swings. He's been playing that all summer, or all county championship up until now. He looked out of his depth at international level. You know, he's young. He'll come back. That's fine. It's a good learning experience. But
As we have a change now, as umpire Alex Wharf signals the end of the power play, Wanindu Hasaranga will come on to bowl, averaging 14.5 after 18 matches for 24 wickets.
It all slides away, but don't look back, Hasaranga. I heard you say.
Leg spinning Hasaranga with a slip in to Billings, who trots down the track, whips it into the leg side, and that'll go into the deep, and there will be just one run. As Jason Roy, who's now had a few balls to get his eye on, he likes the spinners, not at the first when they're opening the bowling, he gets out to them a bit, but when he's got his eye on, he likes them.
yeah, exactly. Like to come down the track, smashing it over the infield. I'd like to see a bit of that.
As Hasaranga is into Roy, who reverse sweeps well, and that is going to run away past the man at backward point, and that's going to go for 4.
Did we see a Sri Lankan player reverse sweep? I think one tried it, didn't they? At one point,
Top
got
edged
out.
it.
Yeah.
But yeah, Jason Roy, just as we talk about his love for the spinners once he's got his eye on, and he's smashed that, but he's out! He's out on the boundary!
Twat.
Dasin Shanaka out there on the boundary as Jason Roy has hit it very hard. I thought he'd hit it over the infield, but no, the man is there out on the boundary, and he just caught it a couple of steps in, and Jason Roy is gone. England 36 for 4, needing 76 from 81 deliveries, and in a real hole now.
They're really making a mess out of this.
He's done that one leg thing again.
The dreams that I dreamed were mine are going, gone.
And as we can see, it's starting to rain there as well. I thought he didn't get underneath that enough, did he? I mean, he hit it hard enough. He just hit it too flat. Didn't get the elevation.
I thought that was going to go.
Yeah, I thought so too.
Yeah. But hope for English fans as the rain does start to come down over Night Street.
Win by Duckworth Lewis.
Yeah, Duckworth Lewis, we need now 6 from 25 overs.
This is so England. This is so England. We can really fuck it up from really simple positions, man. I mean, this is...
Ant-Man 1805 says things you are likely to hear on Gorilla Cricket, number 75. England are 34 for 3.
Now 36 for 4.
Now 36
Indeed.
for 4.
And who will we have coming to the creases? Captain Morgan watches on, steely-eyed and hopefully steely-stomached at this point.
Livingston, won't it be?
I think it may be Liam Livingston. Yes, he hasn't brought his head up yet. It is Liam Livingston, who averages a glorious 8 across his 4 matches with the bat.
Okay, this is what it sounds like.
I am Liam Livingston. I play for the Lightning. My one-day kid is
Hasaranga is into Livingston, who tucks it into the leg side, but it is recovered by the bowler, and there'll be no run. As we see again the dismissal of Jason Roy, who had a big old hoik across the line of a leg spinner and has paid the price by being caught on the boundary. And England in trouble now as Livingston faces up to Hasaranga, defends into the onside, and they'll run down to long on, and there will be a single as Livingston gets off the mark. As England requires 75 from 79 deliveries, 37 for 4.
Doesn't someone get in their ear and go, look, all we've got to do is win this game? I know, there are people who say, well, you just got to play the game as you normally do. But you're in a situation with 37 for 4, you've only got to get bloody 75. You just fucking knock around the singles. It doesn't have to be interesting.
Hasaranga is into Billings, who lunges forward and defends test match style, and there will be no runs.
I disagree, Bear. I'm really enjoying this now.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of funny, but I mean, we've been England sports for long enough. Oh yeah, sod off, Tone. You're not on for another ball or two. Your picture's here.
No, that is the end of the over. Oh, yeah? Is that the end of our spell?
It is.
They're not showing the overs anymore, so I will slide out and I will hand you over, as I just checked the rotor, to Bear on Ball by Ball, Jason on the socials, and Tony summarising. Thank you and good night.
See you later. Well, this is my last stint I didn't think it was going to go much beyond my stint, to be honest, this whole entire game. But now it's looking like we're going to have to watch them wheedle out a sort of 3-wicket win or whatever.
Yeah, it's
Well, if they can.
Well, Ombre Nueva, after I told him actually on the GPL that he wasn't going to get anywhere near it with his 297, we went 246, which would mean England would have to be all out because they only got what, 112? Defended by Livingston up to cover, and there's no run.
Don't think that works.
Sorry?
Don't think that works. Need to be 230 something. 220 to 230 something to be in.
Well, exactly.
In with DPL.
And I told him that 297 was way over the top, and he brought it down to 246, and he still hasn't got a chance. So there you go. No one's winning GPL tonight. We got a whole £2 wicket. Short. That was reasonably quick by O'Donnell. Well, it looked quicker than 81 miles an hour, but it wasn't. Livingston got a bit tucked up, but managed to work it down to long leg, and there is a single. So your thoughts, Tone?
It's clearly not as straightforward to bat as we were expecting Sri Lanka to make it look. I agree with you. England could do it in 1s and 2s, and there'll be the space in the field. So they ought to do it. But I think charging towards it would probably be a negative thing to do.
Well, exactly. That said, Short, Billings just pulls that nicely through mid-wicket, wide of mid-wicket and wide, a straightish mid-on, all the way down to the wide long-on boundary, and it'll be 4 runs. I mean, you play this like an ODI here in the middle overs, don't you? I mean, there's 5 people out. There's always a gap. Get the odd 4 anyway, because there'll be a bad ball, and knock it off in 18 overs, which is quite dull, I admit, but I mean, if the name of the game is winning, it's about the result as much as how you get there. In length ball, maybe short of a length, Billings just plays it off the back foot out to cover, and there's no run. Is there any socials, Jace?
There is. Mog says rather sort of trollingly, I bet you wish you had Bracey coming in to save the day now.
No.
Interesting to see how Billings goes. He's got a point to prove, hasn't he?
I like Billings, I always have. He's a bit lucky. He's one of those players on the periphery that are slightly better players than, but he's a good quality player. He pulls that, mistimes it slightly, but it's out into the deep at mid-wicket. Himself a single.
Only ever played Sri Lanka once. That was 5 years ago in the Rose Bowl, and he. I don't think he got to bat on that occasion.
Wouldn't surprise me.
I agree with Bear. I think had he not been injured or unavailable for whatever reason, he'd have played against the Bracey in the Test match.
In the Test match, yeah. Well, I thought he was in the squad though, wasn't he, Billings? I thought they called him in
as cover for
Bracey, but them having brought him in just ditched Bracey because he was only ever cover for Folks. They didn't really mean it, I don't think, unless they had to pick a batsman, not a keeper. So that was guided by Billings down to third man, against himself a single. At that point, you just change your thinking and go, well, Billings he's got more experience at Test level anyway. He's a better bat, or well, he might not be a better bat, but he has the experience. I mean, Bracey looks completely out of his depth. He wasn't a particularly good keeper. Billings might not be a great keeper, but certainly got more experience at batting and at that level. And maybe Bracey didn't even expect to be picked for the first Test, I wouldn't have thought. Until Folks went down, and then suddenly it probably all got in his head. A little bit too much for him.
And Folks is still down. He's still not returned to
3 months, they reckon, don't they?
Playing for Surrey, and he's not even in training, I think, at the moment.
Well, no, that's what I mean. They said 3 months for that tear. Hasaranga is in, played off the back foot by Livingston out towards point. It's pretty deep. They'll get through for an easy single. Mitch Score moves on to 45 for 4.
Mog says the name of the T20 game is entertainment, not cricket.
It's about winning. Everything is about winning. How you get there is, it's nice to do it entertainingly, but actually, more important thing is winning. If you're in a team, as that's bunted up too long on by Livingston, and he'll get himself. No, sorry, Billings that was, and he'll get himself a single.
And Sasin by name, sorry, not Ravinair says, can anyone actually take this match seriously?
Not really. I've had 3 beers and I'm going to have another one. On the back foot, punched out to cover, and there's no run. Considering I haven't been drinking much for the last 6 months, that says something, doesn't it? Tone, you'll know the rules. How many people are allowed in the ground?
I think it's only 25% capacity still.
Oh
my word.
wow, that kept a little bit low. Went back trying to pull it onto the leg side to Livingston. Kept a little low from Hasaranga, and he on inside edge onto his pads. Could have quite easily gone back onto his stumps, but it didn't. And there's no run.
And the capacity is 12,000, so
it's not a lot.
quarter of that.
It's quite small ground. It was raining a little bit.
25% doesn't look very much.
No, it doesn't. Maybe there's not 25% in there. Cut nicely by Livingston. It's not going to quite make it down to the deep backward point boundary, but they should get back when they do get back for 2. Moving the score to 49. 63 required from 67 balls. Livingston 7 off 9. Billings is 8 off 10. And England are kind of making a meal of this. Billings surveys the outfield, looking where his gaps are. Settles down and goes back, pulls that nicely. Good timing, out through deep mid-wicket. Keeler Dhananjay, who's down there on a cow boundary, which goes to him, and only get a single. I like Billings' bat. It reminds me of that. You remember the Gray Nichols Volcano? Very similar to that.
Oko's just sent in a nice tweet about Sam Billings. I can't do it justice in the manner which he intended. He says the chances of any runs coming from Sam are a billions to 1, they said. Chances of any runs coming from Sam are a billions to 1, but still, they come.
Well, they do.
Very good. The chances of anything, is that to the tune of Carmine?
It is.
Jeff Wayne, War of the Worlds?
War of the Worlds.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which I've seen several times late night on BBC One. With Tom Cruise, the new one. It's all right, actually.
Oh, I remember Michael Rennie as Gort in the original.
I remember. Gort?
You're thinking about that's the wrong film.
I'm thinking of the wrong film, aren't I? What am I thinking of then, with Michael Rennie as Gort?
The Man Who Fell... no, not The Man Who
Fell.
The
Day the Earth Stood Still.
Yeah, The Day the Earth Stood Still. They made
not The Man Who Fell to Earth. That's David Bowie.
That's David Bowie, yeah. Day the Earth Stood Still. They did a remake with Keanu Reeves, which was a bit weird. It was all right, but it was a bit slow and a bit tawdry. Billings.
It's all a bit eco, that one.
Yeah, it was a bit eco. Fernando is in. Ooh, and gets Billings tries to pull it. I think it squats a little bit on him. And he gets over, plays over the top of it, and plays it right into his midriff. To his taut, tight abs. And he goes down and ties his laces to hide his pain.
I think Baby Shaker speaks for all of us when he says on YouTube, it's tragic, but I can't look away.
Yeah.
It's car crash cricket.
It is. Well, I watched the highlights last night, and that was about 20 minutes, and that was long enough, you know. I was kind of like, that'll do. Maybe we should.
But it's clearly, England bowled just short of a length a lot of the time. Took pace off the ball. Apart from Mark Wood, who doesn't tend to take pace off the ball very much, and Sri Lanka found it very hard, to get the ball away to the boundary, and to a certain extent, Sri Lanka have taken a similar approach with the ball.
Yeah,
and there it was again.
Yeah, exactly. Missed by Billings. He tries to pull that out to mid-wicket area, and there's no run. There has been a little bit of rain as well, spiced up the wicket, and at some point, this is the wicket they used yesterday as well. So a worn wicket. A little bit of rain and a slow outfield. Yeah.
In international terms, at least, certainly not in domestic terms, a fairly inexperienced batsman at the crease. Got a high score of 16. He's run out against South Africa.
What, Billings?
No, Livingston.
Oh, right. Yes. No, he's never really done much.
That was in Taunton.
A lot of people say he's quite good though. That's dropped out into nearly a really good running. Well, it was really good thought by Billings. It's dropped out with no pace at all into a vacant mid-wicket. All the guys are out on the mid-wicket boundary. The bowler has to chase after it. They think about 2, but good fielding from the bowler. Got after his own ball quick enough to stop them from coming back for 2.
He's made 45, 25 and 25 for Lancashire in the blast against Derbyshire, Worcester and Leicester. So he's been putting runs on the board for Lancashire.
Well, he's facing up now. He's on 7 off 9. Just needs to see through to the end. That's a shit ball down leg side. That's a wide for height and line probably. We'll give it a jingle.
Easy decision for Alex Wharf, that one.
Well, yeah, it was a bit, wasn't it?
Wide.
Is the lady still doing fourth umpiring duties for this test? Even T20. Isn't it the first time a woman has done?
Give me 2 seconds and I'll tell you.
I presume she's in for the entire series. That's why I ask. They don't change that around, do they? Down the track comes Livingston, works it out to deep square leg. They'll just get a 1, I think. Throw it into the deck. Yeah. Carry on.
She's not rostered for this game. It's Wolf, Burns, Martin Saggers, and David Milnes as the 4 on-field officials, and Philip Wishcase as the umpire, as the referee, I think.
Presumably she's a class 1 umpire or whatever the top exam she has to do.
Wasn't she officiating in the women's test down at?
She did. She officiated in the ladies' test.
So.
Yeah.
Down the track comes Billings and just works it around the corner behind square. There's a man on 45. Fields it. It'll be 1 run. After this ball, I'm just going to run to the fridge and get my last beer.
Okay.
If that's okay with you guys. Okay. It'll only take me a second.
Yep. We'll talk amongst ourselves. You'll be back in time, presumably, for the start of the next over.
Oh yes, it takes me the time it takes to walk. What, about 7 yards to the fridge, Tone, and back?
Depends how quickly you walk, Bear.
Well, I can walk.
It's ages since I've seen you walk. I've only ever seen probably your head and shoulders.
I'm a little bit slimmer than last time you saw me, Tone. That worked into the leg side by Billings off his hip. Was that Billings or was that Livingston? I thought it was Billings. But it was Livingston, as he's moving on to 9. And he gets a single. Right, I'm off to the fridge.
Right.
There he goes. There he was gone. What about some socials then, Jace?
Right, well, Mog says, as soon as you say remake, I immediately know it's going to be shite.
By and large, that is true.
No, different, yes. Shite, probably. I think is a fair assumption. And also on YouTube, Satan by Name says, England are quite capable of losing from here. Yes, I think we've known that for a long time, that their performances are somewhat brittle, I think would be the best description.
Yeah, well, I mean, halfway stage, let me see, 55, chasing 111. I mean, it's pretty much...
It's even Stevens.
It's about as even Darren Stevens, isn't it?
Well, we're 9 runs ahead, but 2 wickets down. I think we bat much deeper, though, don't we? I mean, Adil Rashid's at 10, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's a decent bat. Swiped into the leg side by Billings, Livingston, and there is a man out. Dasson is down at cow corner, and he fields it reasonably well. It's a single. Is this a change of bowler? It's a leggy. Haven't seen him. Dhananjaya, it is indeed. Aquila, I presume it is. Down the track comes Billings, just clips it into leg side. Nice timing. Oh, they're going to think about 2. They do, and they get it, I think. It's Aquila Dhananjaya is bowling. He's got a jingle that goes like this.
Mind you, just a quick update from Lords. Mitchell has just taken 3 off the over. He's got out Walter, Tenderskata and Niger, so he's taken 3 and 4.
I was playing a jingle then, Tone.
Sorry, Essex need 5 off 2 to win.
5 off 2? Oh, that's quite tight. I should get that. Pulled hard by Billings out to cow corner once more, and they'll get another single. Do this for the rest of the match. They should quite nicely, easily do it. Aquila is at the end of his run-up. Bowling to Livingston, who cuts that square. I presume there's a man out there. There is indeed. It's kind of like the middle overs of an ODI, which is fine, I reckon. I reckon that gets us over the line without too many scares. And it looks like it's raining a bit, doesn't it?
Oh dear. So where is Duckworth Lewis as we speak?
I presume it must be in England's favour. They got a different formula, haven't they, for T20? So that's clipped down to Dasson once more, out to deep, wide, long on, stroke cow corner for another single. Isn't that right, Jason? You're the mathematician amongst us.
I think so. I think there's an adjustment to what is the par score figure, which is like 260 for a 50 over game, and it's adjusted based on that. That's the only part of the equation I think that's changed.
Well, that seems reasonable. I imagine a par score of about 170 and 20. Looks like they're going to go off. That's what the ball's been coming, and the rain's coming down too hard.
Man,
for fuck's sake, does that mean that we have to hang around here? Shit.
Well, I think that's the name of the game for a while.
Oh, just play in the rain. Or cool it off. One or the other.
As a spin bowler, Bear, how many times have you had to try and serve up your, was it left arm orthodox, isn't it? You bowled.
Serve up? How do you say serve up? Do you mean
well, it's not easy. It's not easy with a slippery ball, is it?
It's terrible. It's really hard.
Exactly.
But I had to do it. You basically bowl flat darts, and that's about it. But
unbelievable! Essex got a 4 off the last ball to win.
Were they playing you guys?
Essex are hopeless. Yes.
Where are you in the league? Bottom,
rock bottom.
Nice.
And even more bottom than we were before. Eskenazi got a ton tonight, and we let Essex get 184.
You may be bottom, Tony, but there's still no guarantee that you won't come up with a win tomorrow when you come to the Oval.
Well, yeah, you never know, do you?
Given that Surrey seem to have lost the will to win after losing all their players to England.
Harmer it was who saw him over the line. Not for the first time. He did that in the final, didn't he, a couple of years ago?
I can't find a DL score. You thought they'd have it on the bloody scorecard on...
Yeah, Surrey were unbeaten when they had all their England players, but as soon as they've all gone, we haven't won a game since.
Well, that's because...
And probably won't tomorrow.
Duckworth Lewis on the main score. There's no Duckworth Lewis score on Cricinfo. Why is that? Shouldn't that be just part of the scorecard? There isn't one. So I don't know what Duckworth Lewis is. I don't know what's going on with the rain. Don't know what the weather forecast is in Cardiff. Didn't really bother to look before I came over. Come on, Tony, you're a man of
It's Wales.
It's Wales. It's Wales.
I did have a look earlier. And I've probably got it on a tab somewhere, so give me 2 seconds.
Oh, hold on. They're carrying on.
They are.
Okay, Livingston's out there. They decided to carry on in the rain. Good man. Clipped down to long leg for a single. Maybe England quite haven't got over the Duckworth Lewis score, and they're making sure they do before they call it off. He says cheekily. Maybe the rain just, there was a little shower that's gone over. 48 required from 52 balls. Livingston's 14. What was his highest score? This must be his highest score in a T20I then, isn't it?
16 is his highest to date.
Okay. No, it's still... Well, I don't know if that's the advertising or going to rain. I think it's a rain. It looks like it's raining quite hard. But they're carrying on anyway. Entertainment for the crowd. The lights are on. It's clipped out square on the onside to a bit of a misfield out there. It'll be a single. Maybe Sri Lanka won't be too happy with this. But they play quite a lot of T20s in the blast in sort of showers, don't they? Or sort of light mizzle.
Do you think the fact it's on free-to-air TV might slightly be influencing the decision just to keep them out there at all costs?
Possibly, but I think, the shorter form of the game, the more likely it is you ought to play in rain. As long as it's not bucketing down. I mean, Christ, we've all played in rain. Once you're out there, you might as well stay out there if it's not too hard.
2 seconds.
Driven up to mid-off by Livingston, gets himself a single.
That's certainly what they're thinking on the commentary, ESPN commentary. They're thinking that it's driven by the return to free-to-air rather than any other reasons why they're staying out there.
That won't make Sky happy.
No, I imagine it won't.
Man, your belly's got big in lockdown, hasn't it, Tone? He's not listening, is he? Cut out to point, and there is no run. Did you hear that, Tone?
No, I went to check the DLR. I changed
it's 60, I think.
Information score. The DLS par is 64. Duckworth Lewis, yes, is 64. And England, of course, are 68. So they're just ahead of the game at the moment.
Okay, that's pissing down. Come on, get off.
But well, it would now. It would suit England to go off, other than the fact that as an advert for cricket on free-to-air TV, it would be a disappointment.
It's not. Yeah, well, it may be a disappointment, and that's all well and good. As Livingston clips that out square on a leg side, deep mid wicket, and there's no run. It's not like fucking BBC viewers haven't watched Wimbledon be rained off or Queens be rained off for days on end. They do understand that you don't play certain sports in rain, and they're not fucking ignorant. And the umpires are getting together.
I think they're going, despite what's probably in their ear, which is try and keep them out there. They're probably.
Well, you can try and keep them out there, but as you say, it gets unfair at a certain point. When it's bucketing down, you can't play cricket. It's unfair on the fielders, unfair on the bowlers.
Were there no more play, of course, it would mean England would win, and they are heading off them.
Only just though. It's not like miles ahead of Duckworth Lewis. Looks like the.
To be fair,
how long do we have to sit around and wait for this thing to be called off or put back on?
9:30.
9:30.
No, it might even be later than that.
I imagine it's half an hour after that. There's 48 overs, 48 balls, which is what? 8 overs.
They bowled more. They could wait the whole of that time, so they could wait another half an hour at least.
Yeah, I was going to say they probably can. DLS is 65, as Tony said. England are 69 for 4. What are they saying here about rain? Is it just chucking it down?
Let's get through some social media. Jeff Perkins, talking about remakes, says most of the jingles are remakes.
Yeah, that's why we always get stinged by bloody fucking copyright claims on YouTube.
All the DCMS messages you get.
It's really annoying because, I mean, they have this. I mean, you can go in there and they say, you know, fair use. And they even describe fair use exactly as how we use them. You try telling them that.
Yes, it's all parody, isn't it? It's meant to be parody, so that's,
yeah, exactly.
Anyway, Peter Ward says, Tony, Middlesex are the strongest team in the league. They're holding up all the teams above them.
Oh, that old angle of looking at things. I'm afraid I'm not.
Rose-tinted glasses.
It was our bowler tonight. Eskenazi made our bowling. I'm afraid again. And I'm afraid it's our quicker bowling.
Who is your quicker bowling?
Beautifully, Mitchell bowled Finn and Helm, both of whom leaked runs at the wrong time. Darryl Mitchell did very well. Made 29 with the bat. Took 3 wickets in the last over. But although he did get hit for 4 off the last ball, but by and large he bowled well.
Wow.
South bowled well. Green bowled well.
You're really missing Toby Rowland-Jones at the moment, aren't you?
Well, yes and no. I mean, less so in T20s. I mean, 1, you only have 4 overs in T20, don't forget. And 2, that was never really his forte. But yeah, he could smite it late in the order.
He's been injured for yonks, hasn't he?
I'm afraid he had a stress factor, and now it's something else. I am deeply concerned for Toby.
I mean,
it is just one thing after the other.
I mean, it has been pretty much one thing after the other, hasn't it, since he had that breakthrough with England that summer? Was it the Ashes, wasn't it? 2015 or something? Was that it? Or was it?
Yeah, it was. He made runs against. He made some good runs, didn't he? In an ODI against South Africa, I remember, on his international debut. I'll tell you why I remember that. 1, it was my birthday, and 2, it was the day that Jules Farnham rang the bell at Lord's, the 5-minute bell.
Or was it? It was a series that we played in England before we went out to the Ashes. And that was the last Ashes we did overnight, wasn't it?
Against South Africa, I think. And he bowled. Yeah. He bowled very well. I'm going to just go and have a look at Cardiff and see what we've got now. Tell the last time I looked at the BBC website, I've got Gaul down as one of my favourite places to look at weather. Not necessarily.
Gaul's a nice place to look at weather.
Although we are playing Sri Lanka, I suppose. Let me have a look at what it is saying now. Well, it's looking, I fear, according to this, is Cardiff, as though this rain is sort of pretty much set in until 10 o'clock. Where are we now? 9:20. Yeah, and I'm looking at the weather map. It's not super duperly encouraging, I'm afraid to tell you.
And whilst we're wibbling on, I should give you an update from the other T20 matches around England and the world. As we've said already, Middlesex lost to the Essex Eagles by 2 wickets. They scored 182 for 2, and Essex scored 184 for 8 off the last ball. Birmingham beat Derbyshire tonight by 5. Sorry, Derbyshire beat Birmingham by 5 wickets. Birmingham made 167 for 9, and Derbyshire overhauled it on the first ball of the last over. Gloucester and Glamorgan is still going. Gloucester amassed a massive 216 for 2, and Glamorgan are up against it on 151 for 7 with 15 balls left. And in Pakistan, the Multan Sultans scored 206 for 4 in their 20 overs in the, I think it's a semi-final or final over there in the Pakistan Super League. And Peshawar are 151 for 8, so it looks like they're struggling to get through that game as well.
Well, I mean, this is it. Pakistan should be. I mean, although it will be obviously different wickets and a different environment, they should be all G'd up for. Although are they playing ODIs against us or T20s? It's ODIs, isn't it? Or is it T20s? T20s, isn't it? It's, Pakistan are coming over here for.
Oh, no, let's change the subject for a second. I've got an interesting couple of questions.
Yeah.
What does Moeen Ali have to do to get a game, particularly after we've seen Milan's form being on a pretty awful downward curve?
I don't know.
Bairstow's just, been bowled through the Bairstow gate tonight. What does Moeen Ali have to do to get a game?
I don't know what they're doing with Moeen, to be honest. It's like they've always put. I mean, how old is Moeen? 35, 34. Do they think he's out to pasture already? I mean, he's still.
I suspect that the plan was that if England went 2-0 up, that they would bring Moeen in for the third game.
But I think he's a valuable.
I wonder
asset.
why you want to wait that long.
Well, exactly. I mean, he is. It befuddles me that England forget what a good batsman he is. He gets mucked around in the Test side and bats at 7 or 8. But I mean, he's a top order batsman. Always has been his entire career. He strikes.
And to be fair, I think his white ball performances haven't degraded anywhere near as much as his red ball.
He did very well in the IPL.
Exactly.
Did very well indeed in the IPL. 6 games before it was curtailed. Batting at 3, he made 206 runs in 6 innings, a strike rate of 157. Only Prithvi Shaw and A.B. de Villiers made more runs at a quicker rate.
There you go.
With the ball, he bowled 2 overs a game on average, took 5 wickets, conceded only a fraction over 6 and over.
He's a good player.
It seems a bit,
maybe they're trying people out. Well, that's what I was saying. It's our series against Pakistan ODIs or T20s.
Yeah, one theory I heard was particularly at Cardiff there's a very short boundary and Owen Morgan really doesn't like to go in with 2 spinners, but then he's relying on Liam Livingstone.
Yes, exactly.
He's certainly more than a bits and pieces spinner based on his track record, and he does offer quite a bit of variety.
And he's a good bat, but
he may yet get to prove he can win a game with the bat as well.
Well, exactly, but I mean, if you were to put me Moeen against Liam Livingstone in the batting stakes, I'd have Moeen any time. So if you're looking for a part-time, going to bowl me 2 overs and bat kind of guy, I'd have Moeen every time.
I would have thought his experience for a World Cup.
Exactly.
But then, unless they think, they know what they get with Moeen Ali. And if they're thinking ahead to, when is it, September, October? I can't remember when the World Cup is now.
October.
But if they're thinking ahead to that, it's got to be October, isn't it? If they're thinking ahead to that and they think they already know what they get from Moeen Ali, maybe they do want to look at the likes of a Livingstone and see what sort of variety you can get. Test out the players you know less about and bank the ones you know a lot about.
Well, that's true. I mean, you've only got a squad of X, but you can always fly someone out, I suppose, if someone gets injured. I mean, the IPL is supposedly finishing in the UAE straight before the T20 World Cup, isn't it? I mean, how many grounds are they going to use for the World Cup, and how many grounds are they going to use for the IPL? They're going to use the same 3 grounds for all 2 tournaments, spread over 3 months.
Would be the same. The IPL will be the same as last time, won't it? You'll have Sharjah and Abu Dhabi and Dubai.
Exactly, but I mean, what other stadiums are there to use in a World Cup? And if not, how many wickets do those... let's say you play half the IPL and 3 stadiums that have got 5 wickets in each stadium. You're going to knacker those out in the IPL, and then what? You're going to play the World Cup on the same wickets?
Yep.
It's going to be crazy. I mean, it's going to be a low-scoring World Cup, I'd have thought.
It is going to be. Yeah, you're right. You're right. The news from the ground, I have to say, is the ground staff have all dived for cover. The full covers are out, and if anything, it is apparently getting heavier. So, yeah. It's such a shame, isn't it? I mean, you're on free-to-air TV, and I think that is quite a big thing. You want the most exciting product that you can possibly get when you have that opportunity. And yes, it does rain, and yes, people understand it rains, whether it's tennis, but it still doesn't stop you being angry and frustrated about it.
Maybe it's a ruse by Sky. Why don't you have the Sri Lanka ones, because we reckon they'll be shit.
Well, there is another conspiracy theory. Is that if you were the ECB, you look at the audience figures for a T20 series against Sri Lanka and go, that didn't work very well, and by comparison, it might make the 100 look good.
Quite possibly.
Which, of course, is which would be the ultimate in conspiracy theories. About right up there with Jason's theory that Johnny Bairstow had a tantrum when we know.
I wouldn't put it past Murdoch though. Crikey.
I await the results of the 100 experiment with interest.
Well, I think we all do. It frustrates. Like everybody, it's an endless debate, and we often end up in the same place. There are just so many ways you could improve the T20 product you've got. It doesn't need tampering with. It needs love.
It needs love. It needs a system where if they want to keep 18 teams in it, they can reasonably fit a tournament in 3 or 4 weeks for the England. I mean, these long tournaments, I don't like the IPL because it's too many matches. I don't like the Big Bash was good when it was 4 weeks long, and now they've fucking wanged it out to 3 months. It's pointless. T20 is a short, sharp injection of pace into the game, and the competition. It's much like I've often said this, and people have heard me say this loads of times. The reason I like the ICC Cricket Championship, the game that's played between the top 8 sides, because it lasts about 3 weeks, but every game has something on it. You have a group of 3 teams, every game's got jeopardy. The thing about tournaments of any sport, there needs to be jeopardy.
Yeah.
Without jeopardy, it's just tedious long form shit, and it only gets exciting when you get jeopardy. So
TLFS, was it? TLFS
socials was
tedious long form shit.
Yes, exactly. And so they need to get that into the blast. I mean, I don't follow the blast, but don't they have it in blocks now and stuff? Are they playing the whole competition over in a one block this year? And how long is that lasting, if it is? Boys, come on, answer my question.
No. But in the meantime, I'll get through some of these tweets. Jeff Perkins and Shahid Qureshi tell me that the Pakistan series is 3 ODIs and 3 T20s. Mayank says the radar I see shows rain will stop around 10:18 p.m. tonight in Cardiff and then restart at 11 p.m. I think if it gets anywhere near that, we would have gone home a long time ago.
10:18, yeah, I don't think they'll go like that with 8 overs left.
And Warren says, sounds like one of you is sitting in a cap. I think he's talking about the soundtrack, the crowd soundtrack that's still going on whilst there's no.
I think potentially that could be me. There's
some clanging plates in the background.
Yeah, I'm in the kitchen, and there's been a little bit of dinner prep action going on behind.
Wow, dinner prep action.
Not mine, unfortunately. I'm on getting a ping-ding.
A ping-ding? What's that? The takeaway?
Well, no.
Oh yeah, right. Same here.
A poppy ping, as they would call it in Wales.
Oh, okay.
It's the Welsh for microwave.
It is.
I can also tell you some Fox News. Grubby and Messi have both had their tea and have headed back to their burrows, their den for the evening, following one another dutifully.
And have you been brought any presents today?
No, I'm still on 12 golf balls. No golf balls today.
I think that's really good training of Luigi, to be honest, to bring you golf balls. I like the idea that it's a transaction for food.
It is. He was tapping on the window today because he thought I hadn't fed him for a while. So he popped it. He was giving the window a bit of a beaking. He thought it was food time.
Are magpies part of the crow family? I presume they are.
They are. Yes, they are. They've got the same sort of intelligence.
Yeah, exactly.
They're all corvids, aren't they?
Corvids, that's it. That's what I was thinking of. So he gets the idea that you're feeding him, and therefore, exactly that, he's tapping on the window.
Yeah, he knows what to look for, and about what time of day. Yeah, he's very smart.
I put some chicken out on the table to defrost when it was really hot. And then
all the foxes love that like a shot.
Well, exactly. I mean, I was sitting in the back room and I could see it for the first time in donkeys. I mean, we have loads of magpies flying around, and a magpie came and sat on a fence. I was like, that's really weird. Magpies don't normally come and sit on a fence. About 2 minutes later, I realised he was just eyeing up my chicken. So I quickly nipped it in. You're not having my chicken. I'm not having a Luigi down my way.
Well, the latest update is basically not great for everybody, really. Certainly not you, Bear, who wants to get away from the studio probably at some point. It looks the cut-off time would be 10:20.
Oh God.
However, the umpires are currently out, and the ground staff are running a rope around the outfield. So there's hope of a restart, but it's not imminent. So we're at 9:30. 10:20 would be the cut-off by which we'd need to start. Is that right? We're certainly seeing the umpires.
So is the cut-off? Hold on, let's have a look at that.
Surely not, because we've played more than 5 overs now. So they, in theory, run it all the way down to 0 overs.
Yeah, they lose an over after 4 minutes or something, don't they? And then there'll be about half an hour on top. So you've probably got about 32 minutes plus half an hour, so an hour and 2 minutes or something from when they came off. Which seems about right.
I'd have thought it'd be called a lot earlier than that, because they will still have to get stuff off the ground to make it fit for play. So we'll know 15, 20 minutes ahead of that.
The umpires' umbrellas are down, not up. That would suggest the rain has stopped for a while. As we say, the trucks are dragging the rope around the outfield to try and they're going past the commentary pod. Somebody said last night they really wanted one to be in one of those commentary pods. I volunteered to make one out of a cereal packet and some sticky plastic.
I was going to say, come down to bloody Sydenham. We got a sort of commentary pod.
I'm not sure that's a good idea, because did you not hear the T20 that was broadcast a couple of days ago, where I think it was Somerset said we're doing it, and they said it's coming in the pod, and they were all diving around to all parts trying to get out of the way of the ball that was coming in like a rocket.
Yeah, that's true. Surely you can see it coming at you.
And then 2 balls later it happened again.
Well, presumably the pod still has a glass window, so that you can pull that down.
No. It's open.
It's open.
It's just genuinely open, is it? Oh well, that's I suppose it's cricket. If it's pissing with rain, you're not going to be commentating on cricket, are you? But I suppose you are, because you're going to do what we're going to be doing. Only they're going to have to do it outdoors, which makes my kitchen seem quite attractive at the moment, even if there is the odd clanking of plates behind me.
No, the front has an overhang, so it's quite hard to get rain into it.
It's basically like it's a burger van. It's basically a burger van converted to a commentary station, isn't it? Effectively, I'm surprised they don't run a little grill behind them, so you could have an expert, a summariser, a commentator, and somebody rustling up your chips and hot dogs next to them.
Well, exactly.
Making a bit of money on the side. It'd be the perfect solution.
Chucking it through to Rob Key, yeah, belly.
Yes. If Sterlo was playing, he'd be the one to be.
Chuck me a burger when I'm out in the outfield.
He'd be putting his hand up to field straight by the pod. There's no doubt about that. The good news. There's good news. There is good news.
Right.
The covers are coming off, and as of now, no overs are yet lost. So stick with us. There is some room for encouragement, it would seem. Fantastic.
Rain today. It's quite a lot of way in Wales.
Meanwhile, whilst we're wibbling around, Dara Azizi asked a very interesting question, I think, for this. which says, "What about retractable roofs for cricket venues? I know they used to play under the Telstra Dome in Australia, but they've now stopped doing that."
The only problem with cricket venues is,
it's a heck of
more so is that everyone is so distinct in its dimension, size, and shape. You know, a football ground by and large is smaller and tend to be more conventional in shape, don't they? Whereas cricket grounds, based on the size of the stands, are so different. You'd have to sort of bespoke your roof structure for literally every ground and cover a much larger space. It'd be quite difficult to do.
Something like 3 times as much concrete to cover it as well.
Well, sure, you just
which
get
would make
some
them
sort of-
prohibitively expensive.
Well, exactly. Surely you can get some newfangled technology that sort of whips out ropes across it. And,
Restarts 9:55. We do have official news now. If there's no more rain,
That's
the
20
restart-
minutes. We're not bibbling for 20 minutes. I'm sorry. This is a T20. I'm off. Right. I'm going to go and make some food. I'm going to put some highlights on.
Well, what would you like to put? Oh, I know what we've got. That lasts about 20 minutes better.
No, we're going to go back to highlights of the.
Oh, God. You've got something against that interview, haven't you? I don't know what it is.
No, I don't know anything. We played it twice. It's just that I've
Only
got it-
twice?
Only twice. It'll get played again. You know, we got in this bloody day. We got about 20 interviews, and every time there's something, we have to choose something. It's just because this is endless. It's like 8 hours of highlights. It means I don't have to choose something else. That's why, Tone. Not for
Right,
any other
okay.
reason. It makes my life easy.
Well, exactly. That is the golden rule of your production.
Absolutely,
well aware of that.
man. Absolutely.
Whatever makes it easier for the bear.
Absolutely.
Hang on.
Hello,
What's
Nestlers.
going on?
What's going on, Nestlers?
What's going on?
You sound like you're coming. You're not. I don't think your headphones plugged in. You're coming
What's
off.
going on?
What's going on?
I believe you've said that a couple of times.
You sound like you're in the bottom of a well. Is what's going on?
Do I still sound like I'm in the bottom?
No,
of
now you sound
we
normal.
can hear you.
I've got a question for you.
Yeah.
Go on then.
Totally unrelated to cricket, and it's kind of subjective. And maybe Tony only knows. What band's debut album and final album were their best records?
A band that made 2 records.
No. They had a career, but their debut album and their last album were their best records. Of course, it's subjective, but I think it's right.
The band?
Nope.
The Eagles.
Nope. No, fuck no.
Well, I don't know. The
The
Who.
Eagles.
The Who.
The Who?
The Jam.
Nope.
You need to give us a bit more of a clue.
Well, it started in the 60s, ended in the 70s.
Started in the 60s, ended in the 70s. That you like?
Well, they're very popular.
The Birds.
No. You're just saying names without thinking.
I am basically.
Yeah, because I'm trying to think.
Give it a genre. Give
Their
us a genre.
debut album was a massive hit, and the last album was a hit, and everyone says, "Oh, that's
The Kinks.
The Who?
The Kinks.
The Kinks? No.
I said the Who. Oh no, it was the Who.
Definitely not the Who. Christ, their last few albums are shite.
Yeah.
I was going to say Led Zeppelin, but that will lie.
No. In Through the Outdoor was not a good record.
No,
American band or
all right, American, yeah.
They were an American band. Started in the 60s.
The Osmonds.
What?
Taking a
piss. Easy. One song on their last album is very much linked to a massive film.
Bee Gees.
Right.
No.
The Bee Gees, though, they're English.
And Australia.
Debut
Oh,
album.
Australia, actually, yeah, but they're definitely not American.
Debut albums of the 60s, I'm just trying to think.
It's a debut album and their final album, definitely their best LPs. And there were albums in the middle. It doesn't often happen if you think about it, because normally bands get worse, don't they?
Yes, they do. That's very true.
But this was different.
The Beach Boys.
No.
We're talking late 60s, are we, for the debut
Talking
album?
late 60s, it was massive. And the lead singer passed away. That's another
Jimi
big
Hendrix
quote.
Experience.
Nope.
Lead singer passed away.
Leeds.
T-Rex. No, he was English though.
The English.
American
Is
band.
that,
Come
I used to
on.
Mark Bolan's Tree.
Oh,
I
the
used to-
Doors.
Yes.
Ah,
Don't you think?
First album didn't really like. Last
The
album was
debut
what?
album. Come on. I mean, the debut album's got Break On Through to the Other Side. All
Yeah,
that.
it's a
You
bit
know.
overplayed though, isn't it? Break On Through.
Yeah, but it's still good.
What's the last album? I don't even know what the last album is.
L.A. Woman.
L.A. Woman is a good album.
oh yes.
I mean, subjective, but you know, I'm quite confident in it.
L.A. Woman, Strange Days, Waiting for the Sun, The Soft Parade, and Morrison Hotel.
Yeah, see,
were all the ones in the middle that weren't necessarily that great. I take
No,
your
well,
point.
no, they were. I like them, but definitely the.
There's some
debut
good stuff
album-
on all of them, but there's some shite on all of them as well. Has to be said.
Presumably you will have visited Jim Morrison's grave then, Nestlers.
I have been to Jim Morrison's
Père
grave in
Lachaise,
Paris.
I think, in
Yeah.
Père Lachaise Cemetery. Yeah.
I just want to point out, I didn't go all the way to Paris just to see his grave.
Well, I went when I was living there at the time. I didn't make a special trip to see it. No.
There are a bunch
Somebody
of
went.
fucking
It's just round the
weirdos
corner,
hanging around.
so we
You
went.
probably went for the French Open.
You're correct.
Yes.
Ah,
Of
there you
course.
are, you see. Well, there you are. Well, Bear, you see, Nestlers appears, and the next thing you know,
We've
used
wasted
up.
6 minutes. We've still got another 14 to go though.
Well, all right. Just
Do you want to hear my weird story about my bike ride today? This is really bizarre. It may not be that interesting to everybody, but it is really weird.
You left Essex.
No. Right.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, you found yourself in Suffolk.
No. That's not.
okay.
That's not weird.
All right.
So I'm in the forest. I'm riding along on this track, and I see this guy with a dog.
Is it another? Is it another child molester? Stroke
No.
murderer?
I see this guy with a dog, and he's got a tennis racket. He's obviously using the tennis racket to hit
A
balls
dog with
to
a
the
tennis
dog.
racket. That's unusual for a start.
Shut up!
But you said this wasn't going to be entertaining.
And he obviously uses the racket tip balls to the dog. Anyway, so off I went. I didn't think anything of it. I just nodded to him, as you do when you're on a bike and you see people. About an hour later or so, I'm going up this hill and I stopped for a drink of water, and this collie dog came over to me. Really lovely collie dog, very friendly, and I'm patting it and doing all thing. And then this guy turns out, and it's the guy with the tennis racket, right? So we got talking about his dog, as you do, and I jokingly said, "There's a tennis club, a very good tennis club nearby." And I said, "Oh, by the way, the tennis club's over there." And he goes, "Oh, I know, I'm a member." So we got talking, and I know the tennis club, and I played there a lot in the past. And we suddenly started talking about all these people that we knew. And he goes, "What was the name of that guy?" And by the way, bear in mind, I've got my helmet on, dark sunglasses. He was wearing dark sunglasses. "What's the name of that guy? Really good tennis player, blah, blah, blah." Sort of went on about it. And he went, "Sean something." And I went, "Tracy?" He went, "That's him. Whatever happened to him?" And I took my helmet
that's
off.
weird. That's
And
weird.
Given the size of Epping Forest and the fact that I hadn't seen this guy, because I suddenly, when he took his glasses off, knew who he was. I haven't seen this guy since 1992. How bizarre is that?
That is quite bizarre. That's weird. That's the kind of thing
I know.
that freaks you
He
out.
was
Good job you weren't on drugs.
He
Nestle
was
boy.
completely gobsmacked when I took my helmet off and glasses, and he went, "Oh my god!"
Where's all your hair gone?
Well, that's the weird thing, isn't it? What a weird fucking thing.
If I could just drag us back to cricket for a moment.
Why?
We do have, because we have another update.
Why bother?
It's going to be a 9:55 start, and it will be an 18-over run chase with a revised target of 103.
Oh, you better redo the rotor.
No, I think we'll just stick.
we'll
We'll
just
stick
with
with
it.
it as is. I'll just have
How
two
many overs have we got?
leftovers
How
to
many
do.
overs have we had? How many
Oh,
overs?
so we could move to the last set of people pretty much on the restart.
What, 18 overs?
No, because we've had
had
12.
12. There's 6 left. I'll do one more,
Oh,
and then
6.
you guys come
Oh,
in for the
okay.
end.
Yeah, all right, we'll do that.
Yeah. 6
Yeah,
overs.
we'll do that there. That's fine.
I can go off and make mine.
And the covers are coming off.
Well, the covers are off, but it looks on
Well, yeah. But they then changed that. No over is going to be lost, it was said, but it seems to be they've reduced it to 18.
They've only lost. They get 111. They've gone down to 103, so 8 runs. Is the only difference.
Yeah. So
Which
11
makes it a
off
little bit
2.
harder for England.
Well, if you look at
probably.
the speed that the runs have been scored, which is around about 5 and over, that's probably actually.
Oh, it says 103 on the telly. Oh, yeah, that's right. That's what you said.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Sorry, I've had 4 beers. It's the first time in fact, I got quite pissed last night. I was up till about 3 in the morning drinking whiskey with a mate.
Again.
Oh,
well, that's all right. You've got to do something in these
broken the
lockdown
shackles.
times.
I've broken the shackles, Tone. I've come off the wagon.
I haven't had a drink
no.
since March 2020.
I know.
Still.
I managed to get from New Year's Eve to May. That's not bad going.
Well, exactly. I think I did really well. I had about 5 months myself. A couple of
And
drinks.
now I'm not. I don't drink during the week, but then the weekend it runs from Friday to Sunday night.
Constant
so
bottle.
kind of 4 days off, 3 days on.
Constant
my
bottles
current
of wine opening.
And I've got to be honest. Come Friday afternoon, I'm kind of thinking. When 6 o'clock and I come round. But there we go. There we go. So where have we got to now on time? It's there's only 5 minutes till the restart now, really.
So we might as well just keep babbling on.
Well,
there's 10 minutes. We can babble.
We can babble for 10 minutes, of course we can. So who's been surprised after last night by the fact that what appeared to be a really poor batting performance from Sri Lanka, incredibly slow. What did they make? 111 for 7. They only made 26 for 2 in the power play, and we were all thinking, well, this is going to be an absolute walk by the taff for England. It's not been that way, has it? You make of that, James?
No, but I mean, you can lose a couple of wickets, they can still stroll it over the line. I don't think they will. I mean, it's not the strongest England side either. Let's be honest.
No, I think England has just been slightly complacent in this game. Once they restricted them to 111, they thought they'd done the job.
Yeah.
And they might not have put the work in to make sure of it by batting sensibly in the power play.
True, very true. As Bear rightly pointed out, as when I came back into proceedings, you could be nudging the 1s and 2s, and it would get you where you needed to be. I mean, that is the danger of a very low total, but to have lost.
Yeah, I mean, Owen Morgan doesn't have this thing where we're just going to play our way anyway, and it's just like, well, actually, you play to win. I mean, it's fine to play your way until you've lost 2, 3. I mean, now 4 wickets, but I mean, if you don't have the experience and you've got Billings and Livingston at the crease, they play a lot of blast, and they should be able to get them home from here. I mean, all you've got to do is not really take any risks. All you need are 2 bad balls to get 4s and the rest are singles, and you're done. And that's it, done. Game's done. So, and there's bound to be more than 2 balls that you can hit for 4, and the rest you can nudge around for singles, and there'll be the odd 2 as well. I mean, it should be a walk in the park, and they should just get their head down on it and put their egos in and go, it's all about winning.
A few people, by the way, on YouTube, you might want to reference.
We've been on it all night, mate.
How's Mr. Singh? Is he still up, or is he?
I think he's gone to bed.
He's gone to bed, still grumbling. He'll probably wake up with an equally large chip on his shoulder come the morning. He'll be hopefully with us for Saturday as well.
How about retractable roofs? Says Dara Assisi.
Yeah,
I've done that one.
Yeah, but then I think not after the ones after that. I'm not sure you.
I'm sure you could have some sort of temporary rope structure that would stretch across with a couple of pulleys that you could put a tarpaulin on.
Well, me and Ed Benson were trying to come up with a plan to have an inflatable kind of balloon type thing.
Yeah, the problem is you get air pressure in and then inside.
Oh yeah, we didn't think of that.
What might that do as well? To imagine the atmosphere. If you've been in like one of those tent-like things.
I've played tennis in.
What will that do for the ball swinging?
That's what I said.
It gets very hot and muggy, and the ball swings everywhere.
You have to have some sort of airflow going with it.
Ravi there says, "Who's doing socials for fuck's sake?"
He also went to 1986. He said, by the looks of it, he went to Père Lachaise Cemetery.
Well, we've all been there, Ravi. So he says, "Beat that." Well, I've been there, and so's Tony.
Yeah, but not at the same time.
No.
The one consistent factor was Jim Morrison. He wasn't going anywhere.
Yeah.
It was a bit scummy, the grave, when I was there. It was all sort of full of kind of like, I don't know, it's full of lots of rubbish lying around, and people
roach ends and
and
needles.
beer, wine bottles, and sort of stupid things.
Yeah, it's like the patron saint of hedonism, really.
What's the right phrase for that in antiquing? Distressed.
Distressed. You watching Drew Pritchard?
Who?
I haven't. No.
Oh right, okay.
Would you be talking about the repair shop or bits?
Oh, one of those, the salvage hunters or something.
You can sometimes. Oh well, yeah, one of those. Yeah, where they sort of go. I tell you what, I do quite like watching. I quite like watching the sort of like where they send celebrities out with so much money to go and buy antiques, and then they auction
You're a
them and see who
sucker.
can make money.
We're all a sucker for that shit.
Well, listen, you don't know about me and Dan Norcross, then, do you? You don't know my plan for Dan.
Your plan for Dan,
and he's totally up for it. Is to get him to be on Celebrity Antiques Road Trip.
That's
I
what
I think he'd be perfect, and he actually charged me with being his agent to that fact, of which I've done nothing about it.
Of course.
I'm surprised this isn't actually one of Bear's former places of employ.
Well, I mean, they're all built on the same format, isn't it? Homes Under the Hammer, Antiques Roadshow. I mean, it basically, people are a sucker for finding something cheap and being able to make loads of money out of it. That's how these things work.
Yeah.
Let's go to a shop and find that thing that cost me £1 that's worth 200. Woohoo! I'm in the money.
I think the thing is, it's like these programs, like, you know, if I see another fucking program with Griff Rhys-Jones going on a boat or
celebrity travel.
Oh, for
With
God's
a slightly eco angle.
Claire Balding or someone doing something. God, give
they're
me
out.
strength. Defund the BBC, I say, if they do another one of those.
Don't do their warming up exercises. You're absolutely right.
Right, who's on then?
Me.
It's a bear for 2 overs. Then
you're off, Nestlers, and I'm on for.
You'll be back in 2 overs time. Nestlers.
Exactly. We're going to go through 36 balls, 6 overs left, 34 runs required. So we need less than 1 a ball. Just knock it about, hey. And that should be that. Don't lose another wicket. All good. I'm not going to bother playing any jingles.
Know. Whoever accused England of being sensible.
Yeah, well, that's a good point, Jason. Right, so we're back in the heat of it. A bleach blonde top to Dananjaya's hair. He rolls the ball in his hand. It should have a dry ball now, at least. The outfield will be a little bit damp. It's been roped. Covers are off. The rain has stopped. And Hasaranga is in the bowl. And Livingston just knocks him down too long. But 1. Sri Lanka presumably have got to try and draw out the ones, otherwise they lose anyway. So you'd have thought they'd try a little bit of funky fielding. The bowler has a towel, which is going to be pleasant. I bet they're thinking, what the hell am I doing in England? It's cold and it's wet. I come from a subtropical island and the Indian Ocean, god damn it. But hey ho. And I haven't got a contract. Hasaranga is over the wicket to Billings, who cuts him, but only as far as cover. They do have a pretty umbrella field in the offside. There's a backward point, they're quite close together. There's a cover, and I presume there's a mid-off. He might be back. Hasaranga is up to crease, bowls down the track, comes Billings, knocks it up to long on, and gets himself a single. 32 required from 33. England 71 for 4. Billings 17 off 21 and Livingston 19 off 20. Don't think stupid? Game is won. When I go off,
in theory it should be. You're absolutely right.
Absolutely.
Run a ball.
Tossed up. Strong armed down to long on once more for another single. You could just have 3 players out there, really, couldn't you? Long on.
What, batsman, bowler?
And long on. And you'd think, maybe I should bring long on up. Make him at least try and go over the top. If it's an easy single and out. Billings is going to face up to Hasaranga. He bowls that. I think that's a good shot. Gone back, rocked, cut that out to deep extra cover. There is a man sweeping on the cover boundary, but they'll get back for 2. And they'll probably get a lot of water on the ball at the same time. I think it might have been a googly by Hasaranga, but Billings gave himself enough room to be able to cut it through the offside. And he can do himself all A lot of good here. Livingston's got his highest T20I score now in this Tone.
Yeah, he's done. He's passed that 16 that he had before.
Exactly. Billings has come down the track, tries to smash that back over the bowl. He's mistimed it into the ground, just drilled out the offside. There's no run. End of the over. 5 overs left. 9 runs required.
Some tweets. Perko says there's still time for another eerie story from the Nestler zone. I think we could make that a feature for future publications. Leah says, I like Kitchen Impossible, where professional chefs have to cook a meal after tasting it once without a recipe.
Kitchen Impossible. We don't have that over here, do we? I don't believe I've seen that.
I've seen a program that's quite good where they have to make sort of takeaway food. I watched one of them where they had to replicate a Domino's pizza. And you get these really high-end chefs from high-end restaurants. One of them bought an entire sort of pizza oven to try and replicate this thing. Spent 80 grand on some kitchen piece of equipment.
80 grand?
Yeah. He was going to sell it on eBay
That's
afterwards.
an expensive takeaway.
Well, obviously he's got more money than sense, but he was determined to beat the opposition.
Perko also asked the question, is Norcross cricket classified as a celebrity antique?
Well, yeah, I don't know if he's a celebrity or an antique, really. Clipped out. There's no one at mid-wicket, so that's an easy single. It's just worked out on the leg side. There's no run. Livingston gets himself on 21. Billings 19. 75 for 4. Just keeping that 1 run ahead of the Bulls left.
Etiek says Britain's best pastry shops with Nigel Henderson.
Wow, yes. The history of this particular pastry shop is
a guerrilla road trip would make probably good TV, I've got to say.
Oh, it could do.
And Ravine has also come back at
Chimera is into the attack. Cut, really nice cut by Billings. Pierces the offside field, hits it quite straight out through extra cover. There's a guy at cover and a mid-off, but he pierces between the two and it races away down to the boundary. And it'll be 4 runs. Good shot.
It's Nissan She. It's Nissan She.
Just lent back. A little bit of width, not a lot. But was able to place it where he wanted it to be. And the score required comes down to 24. Gives them a bit of breathing room on the balls. There's 28 left. And Chimera is going to continue. Billings just dabs that down to backward point. They won't get a run. It's a dot. There were 50 dots in the Sri Lankan innings in the T20.
Wow.
That's 8.4 overs of dots.
8.4 overs of dot balls in a T20.
That's ridiculous. No, 8.2. But that is insane. That's nearly half the overs that were dot balls. It's kind of shit you see in club cricket, to be honest. Chimera, 3 balls left in the over. It's his last over. He's got 1 for 22 so far. He's up to bowls. Pulled nicely by Billings in front of mid-wicket. He should get back for 2. Wow, I thought that was a 2. Should have run that one first. Wanindu out on the boundary fielded it quite nicely.
It's very easy to spot Wanindu with that.
Yeah, he is. Who does he reminds
straw
me
top.
He reminds me of some pop star with a. Well, there's been a fair few celebs. Well, I suppose Warney had a fucking bleach blonde highlights, didn't he, at one point? Livingston facing up to Chimera. Comes in, bowls. Oh, that's a good shot. He's done the old swippity dippity flippity flop, and it's gone. He's just got inside that and flicked it over the keeper, down over long leg, and he's got himself a 6 and a really nice shot.
So they're clearly not thinking about the 1s and 2s then.
Nah, maybe they want to finish it off. You get close enough and confident enough. There aren't that many scoring options. Well, I mean, there are lots of scoring options, but there aren't many that get it to the boundary because the outfield's quite slow. That one is going to, more than likely, if you get it right, is going to get you a 4 or a 6. If you're confident enough to play it, well done. You didn't see. Well, I suppose a fair few Sri Lankans tried it and got it all wrong. But Livingston got that one right. Moves on to 27. Good little innings this. 86 for 4. 17 required off 25 balls. Chimera in. Driven by Livingston. Out to extra cover. And there is no run. Dusty out there. That was under the covers. And that ends the over. Ends my spell. I'm going to leave the last 4 overs to you 3.
You can certainly do that. Thank you, Bear. Should be the return of Nestlers. Fluting
back.
Fluting head in the dark. Although I can actually, you've got some lights there tonight, Bear, so I can actually see the rest of you, as opposed to just the floating head.
There's no light in this room. You're just seeing the glow from my screen.
Ah, and Jason G. Hiscox. Nestlers, are you taking over socials, and Jason then will be just being expert?
Ravi says, I bet none of you have been to Freddie Mercury's school. St. Peter's in Shanghai, about 4 hours out of Bombay. No, and I wouldn't bother because I couldn't stand Queen.
I haven't. Hasaranga is going to carry on. Leg break bowler, and he's beaten a wild swing from Billings, and it goes past the off stump and is taken by Dickweller. I think England are in a mood, Jason, to crack on with it, aren't they? No particular desire to be standing around in the cold. Hasaranga has his head in his straw-topped head in his hands. He's in again down the track, and that was a stumping, but it's gone through Dickweller,
all over,
down to the long leg boundary for 4 wides.
Four
good look.
Leg buys, I do believe.
4 leg buys. Is it given as leg buys? Okay.
So probably give.
I think it's 4 wides. I didn't think there was any leg on that. Definitely don't think I got any saw any legs on that. But either way, it's a 4 to the score. 90 for 4 are England now, and they seem to have steadied a slightly rocky ship that looked like it was listing somewhat early doors, and that one has been chopped on. Hasaranga has his man. He does indeed. Billings has gone. He was trying to get on with things. He was looking to cut away, and England have lost their 5th wicket. Is there just some life left yet?
No.
In Sri Lanka, we shall see.
Now you're gone.
There shouldn't be any life left in it. It just skidded on just a little bit quicker than he expected, and he got a bottom edge on it into the stumps. Possibly as a result of the rain that they've just had.
Jeff Perkins says Guerrilla Road Trip could be exciting, but also expensive to insure if the bear is driving.
Yes.
I think actually Mr. Trick there making a little documentary about the trip to Malahide could have been quite interesting.
Well, yeah, it had its moments there, but then there's also the what happens in Malahide stays in Malahide rule.
No.
You wouldn't necessarily want to be.
No, we don't need every minute, but a documentary about a group of guys going over to commentate live on a test match, yeah, it could have been quite interesting.
Well, Sam Curran is the new man at the crease, 16th in fact, T20 national for him, 66 runs, strike rate of 150. Yet to get himself beyond 30, but he doesn't need to tonight. And he's forward, and he just flicks this away into the onside. Hasaranga goes skipping across, and we'll jingle up Sam Curran.
Is he a batter or bowler? Sam Curran. What's his distinguishing feature? Sam Curran. His dad's from Zimbabwe. Sam Curran. And he's beloved by Liz.
Down the track comes Curran, and he's whipped this away wristily to leg, and they will get 2 more. 11 now the target from 19 balls. That's that adjusted total. Remember, the innings curtailed because of that rain to an 18 over innings. England needed 11 less runs, and 11 runs is precisely what they now need to finish this match. But they've not made it easy or pretty indeed for most of the time, as that one's worked nicely off his legs by Curran, pushed away to square leg. It's another single. Hasaranga has 2 wickets for 20 now. It's the end of his little spell, so he's done pretty well. It's definitely been a better performance in the field by Sri Lanka, there's no doubt about that. 93 for 5, 10 the target from 18. Nestlers.
Jeff Perkins says no lights on at Nestlers, you're seeing his aura. Adam, I can never say his surname. Adam Ketiet. Bird watching with Bishop, another TV, just a webcam of Tony's back garden.
Well, that should be the bear, really, because he's the one who looks like Bill Oddie.
Yeah, but
Bill Oddie was the twitcher, wasn't he? So.
Yeah, but you've got all the birds.
Well, I've got the birds. He's got the twitch.
He's got the look.
He's got the look. Who was that? Who was that, Nestlers? She's got the look. She's got.
Venus.
Thank you very much. Of course, it was. Brings Udana to be the new bowler. The new Livingston on 27. Sam Curran on 3.
I have another controversial statement to make about music after this ball.
Well, that'd be interesting. Udana got himself a wicket last night, didn't he? Didn't he? Was it him who bowled Milan last night? As this one is cuffed away though by Livingston through extra cover by Curran. I beg your pardon. Away through extra cover. That's 4. Signalled as such. The
best guitarist.
Hove's interview.
Best guitarist I've seen live.
Prince?
Yeah, absolutely, by a country mile. And don't forget, I've seen quite a few in my time. Including Jimmy Page, Garrett Clapton, etc.
In comes Udana again. Flicked beautifully off his legs by Curran, but this time it's down to deep backward square. And he will just get a single. 5 now the target from 16. We're into the territory that one might describe as academic. Sri Lanka, though, they can at least. What can they take out of this, Jason? It's been a better effort with the ball. Clearly not with the bat, but with the ball it has been, hasn't it?
Yep, the bowling's been a lot improved, I think. The batting clearly needs a lot of work, but it's not helped by the pitch and the conditions, I think.
Forward comes Livingstone, pushes this away to mid-wicket. They thought about a second, decided against it. Reduces one shot, would do it.
Tony.
Sam Curran, will he want to go for the one-shot finish? 4 needed.
Tony channeling his inner pet shop, boys. I've got the birds, he's got the twitch. Let's make loads of money. Adam Kite it is, actually.
Right, did you get the sort of phonetic version to definitively?
He told me, he's Kite.
Okay. Lovely.
Buddy Guy,
good to know.
Says Dara Azizi.
Buddy Guy, fantastic. I've not only seen him, but I've met him. Very lovely man. As this one is flicked away too long on. And that will reduce the target to 3.
Get the feeling it's a bit greasy underfoot because he fell over trying to stand still there.
He fell over trying to stand still? I've done that. Normally when drunk though.
They all just want to get off, don't they? It's 3.
4-5 is a very somewhat disconsolate or resigned looking Mickey Arthur leaning over the dressing room balcony. Udana's in. And this one is outside edge down to third man by Livingston, who will get another single. 2 becomes the target off 13. Owen Morgan is looking a little more relaxed than he was the last time the camera zoomed in on him. At that point,
his
wickets were
team
tumbling.
is going to win, isn't it?
Well, it is. It is. You'd like to think they probably want to be in and out the shower, into wherever the bar of wherever they're staying, and just chill and unwind for a bit. Next game, of course, is Saturday afternoon, so they've got a day off tomorrow. 101 for 5. Just 2 needed. Remember, the score of 112 that was needed is reduced down to 103.
Big football matches start on Saturday, don't they? The knockout phase.
They do. In comes Udana, pulled by Curran down to deep mid-wicket. Just the one taken. So the scores aren't level, but they're effectively level because there is only 1 needed to win, according to Duckworth Lewis Stern.
It's a classic red ink move from Sam Curran. He's just jogged that one to make sure that Reason hits the winning run.
He gets his not out to his name. Is that Dawid Malan? I don't know what he's got to smile about. Got himself
#1 in the world
for not very many. Well, but #1 in the world and keeping your form steady,
Jason
or
Roy,
even just
obviously.
going slightly up.
Oh,
Dananjaya has been.
The bear collapsed.
No.
Very all right.
I just dropped the microphone. It's Jason Roy. It's not bloody Dawid Malan, is it? It's
No, it's Dawid Malan next to Jason Roy, and
right.
behind him was Dawid Malan. Dhananjaya, he's gone so low in the chair that you can't see the TV. Dhananjaya has been thrown the ball, and with the instructions to try and take to bowl 12 dot balls basically, and down the track comes Curran. Is he going for that red inker? He's finished it with a maximum. England have won. They've won on Duckworth Lewis by 5 wickets. It was simple enough in the end. We had the rain interruption. They've coped with that. Sri Lanka have done better, but not good enough. It's another victory for England. Goodness me, what do we make of that, Jason?
Just very competent, I think, is probably the best word to describe it. They played the best of the conditions. They had the best of the conditions, I think. They had the advantage of the toss, and Sri Lanka electing to bat again, which probably wasn't the right choice given what happened with the weather.
Well, very true. We'll run you through the scorecard, and then we'll just close with some final social media messages, I think. Sri Lanka, remember, chose to bat again, as they had last night. They won the toss. They got themselves to 111 for 7. They progressed at the speed of a tortoise dragging a large rock, to be honest. Kusal Pereira, 21 for him, 39 for Kusal Mendis. So it was the night of the Kusals, but not really much for anybody else. Bit of a chip in at the end by Isiru Udana, who got 19 off 14. 111 for 7. A walk in the park, we said. A breeze. This will be easy for England. We'll all be done and dusted within 7 overs, we said, and we were wrong. Because wickets fell. Roy went to De Silva, caught Shanaka for 17. Johnny Bairstow opened the Bairstow gates and was bowled by Fernando for none of just 3. Dawid Malan, whose plateauing form took another turn for the worse. LBW to Chamira. He was 4 off 5. Owen Morgan didn't stay around that long. He chipped to De Silva off Udana for 11. Sam Billings made 24 off 29, but was bowled by De Silva. By that stage, we were back on trying to get on with things. Liam Livingstone and Sam Curran saw England home. 29 for Livingstone, 16 for Curran, 7 extras. For the bowlers, 2 for Hasaranga, who bowled very tidily, 2 for 20 off his 4 at just 5 and over. 1 for 25 for Udana, 1 for 17 for Binura Fernando, and Dushmatha Chamira 1 for 29. So there we have it. 2-0 up in a 3-match series. The dead rubber will probably still be worth at least checking out on Saturday. Nestlers, what have you got?
I don't know because I've turned it all off, but thank you everyone for tweeting in and messaging us on YouTube. And Mr. Singh, I hope you find peace. Just to let you know that my neighbour's cat is currently trying to catch bats through the window here, and it's quite amusing.
Well, Satan apparently told us that George Emmanuel, formerly of Rotting Christ, is my favourite live guitarist.
Well, like I said, all these things are subjective.
These things most definitely are. Anyway, we will see you on Saturday. Day off for us tomorrow. Day off for England. But it will be, I think, 2:30 start on Saturday, English time. We will look forward to seeing you then. Good night, everybody.
Where is the next one?
Southampton. We're back in Southampton.
Oh,
there.
God, not again. All right, okay. See you Saturday. All right.
Take care, all.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Guerrilla cricket.